Hey, we get it. You don't want to be hearing a Progressive commercial right now, so let us tell you something you do want to hear. No one is funnier than you. People laugh just thinking about the things you've said. I'm laughing at one of them right now. Coworkers repeat your jokes at the office, but they're never as good as when you tell them, and shame on them for trying. There. Don't you feel better? You'll also feel better knowing you could save when you bundle home and auto with Progressive. Although I'm sure you'd have a funnier way to say that. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
New Extra Charge Hot and Iced Coffee from Dunkin' is made with 20% extra caffeine from green coffee extract. Because we could all use a little extra this year. Whether that's an extra boost, some extra boldness, or the drive to go the extra mile. We're extra ready for whatever comes our way. And extra excited to take it on. Let's get it done with a medium extra charged coffee from Dunkin' for $2 with 20% more caffeine. And pair it with snackable stuffed bagel minis for an added all-day boost. Order ahead on the Dunkin' app. America runs on Dunkin'. Participation may vary. Limited time offer.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Thank you for downloading Sporgy for free on iTunes or from ChristopherMedia.net. Please make sure to rate Sporgy 5 stars on iTunes and help to tell others about Sporgy by leaving a comment. Thank you for following Sporgy on Twitter at Sporgy Podcast and on Instagram at Sporgy_podcast. Please follow Sporgy on Facebook to like and share Sporgy. You can also email the show. The address is sporgy at ChristopherMedia.net. If you would like to donate to Sporgy, you can click on the PayPal button at ChristopherMedia.net. If you use Amazon.com, please click and bookmark the Amazon link at ChristopherMedia.net. It will not cost you any extra money, and you will help to support Sporgy. If you are looking to launch your own website, please click through the HostGator banner at ChristopherMedia.net. Christopher Media uses HostGator to host all of the shows produced by the Christopher Media Network. When you click through the HostGator banner at ChristopherMedia.net and sign up for HostGator, you're helping to support Sporgy. We know that choosing the perfect gift for a man is a difficult task, but not anymore. TheBroBasket.com is here to help. We all know men are hard to shop for, but what do guys actually like? Their favorite alcohol, that's what. It could be craft beer, wine, whiskey, scotch, or tequila. TheBroBasket.com will put it in a gift basket full of their favorite gear and goodies. You can customize your own Bro Basket or choose from a variety of different Bro Baskets, like the Ultimate Import Sampler, the Jack and Coke gift set, or the Junior Executive gift basket. Boozeless, but still cool, Bro Baskets are also available. TheBroBasket.com gives you many shipping options to choose from, including rush delivery and Saturdays. 21 and over, please. State and local laws apply. Beer, wine, and liquor are not available for shipping in all states. You can help to support Christopher Media by clicking through the BroBasket.com banner at ChristopherMedia.net. Men used to be hard to shop for. TheBroBasket.com.
Christopher Media. Let's make some noise. Welcome to Sporgy, the show that gives you half-ass sports fans giving their half-ass opinions. And now, here are your hosts.
All right, episode 64.2 for us. I'm Chris.
I'm Rich.
Yeah, there you go. It always helps when you're recording a podcast if the other person is actually being recorded. So, we only got like 30 seconds into the last one, but number 64.
What, you don't want to hear an hour and a half of you talking to yourself?
Yeah, I know, right? Nobody wants to hear that. Not even me. So 64.
Like I was saying, I had to break my own rule. I had to actually look this up. This is where Iceman would come in handy because he knows linemen's numbers that I don't know. But because I was drawing a complete blank and I didn't hear Chris throw anybody out, I actually looked up 64 is Jamie McGinn. He's an NHL player. Played 2 seasons with the last 2 seasons for San Jose Sharks. And has 14 goals. Most by any player who's ever worn the number 64.
So if you ever get handed 64, just know you're just going to fade. You're going to fade into Bolivia, as Mike Tyson would say.
Oh, yeah. This was... he played the last 2 seasons as of September 4th, 2010.
Damn.
Okay, so who knows, man? Maybe I'm just shitting a bet on this, and I'm not realizing that there's one out there that's since then. But anyways.
Yeah. So, 64. I can't think of any discussion. Just say that Matt Stafford is one paid motherfucker as of the recording of this show.
So that makes what now? Twice in the last 5 years, the Detroit Lions have had the highest paid player in the league on their team.
Yeah. So this means 2 years? Stafford's going to retire?
Well, he ain't going nowhere with that contract.
Is this to make sure he's retiring a Lion?
I guess so. I don't know, man. There's no other quarterback available who's better, and the market has decided that that Carr was allowed or was paid as much as he was. Stafford was going to have to earn more than Carr because he's actually, done something for longer than one season. And I don't think Stafford was going to settle for anything less than this.
Why is he being paid like he's won something?
5 wins when it comes to teams over 500. 1 road win since 2009.
You are 5-46 against winning teams.
Because this is the Lions not planning for the future and afraid of slinking back into a complete rebuild and having to tell their fans that, because that's all they've been doing since 1957. So they're going to throw all this money at Stafford, and he's going to continue to be. I mean, I had a discussion with a guy at work. He says I put him in the top 5 in the league right now. I'm like,
what?
Whatever drugs that you're taking or whatever you're drinking, you need to put that down and hit a meeting. He's like, well, name 5 better. I'm like, name 5 better. Brady,
Matt Ryan, Tom Brady,
Rodgers,
yeah,
Roethlisberger, Breeze. I mean, if you want to go as far as off the top
of my head,
if you want to go as far as players who have done more in a shorter period of time,
Cam Newton,
as far as stats, yeah, and I'd even throw Jameis Winston in there. He's actually set some records for being in the league for 2 years. So what the fuck has Stafford done? Granted, he was hurt, his first year, and then his second year is, wasn't that when he dislocated his shoulder, or was that his first year against the Browns? But yet he finished the game, and he finished the game-winning drive with a dislocated shoulder. I mean,
that's the second year.
That was his second year. I'll say this: I won't take anything from him. He's a tough little shit, even though he looks like he's about 12. Them motherfuckers get the curse I got. He's going to be 40 with a baby face. So that's just all there is to it. He ain't ever going to lose that. But I mean, he's tougher than he looks.
Guaranteed $92 million. He has never won a playoff game.
Toughness, don't win you shit. Don't win you playoff games. Toughness don't bring a fucking Super Bowl to Detroit.
Like, that's really, my beef. Like, dude, you're being paid better than Tom Brady. Get the fuck out of here.
You know what this tells me? When I see quarterbacks take deals like this tells me that these quarterbacks know they're never going to be Tom Brady. They're never going to be Roethlisberger. They're never going to be those elite quarterbacks, because elite quarterbacks wouldn't do this to their team, wouldn't handcuff their team with a contract like this. Yeah. Elite quarterbacks care about championships and would take less so they could bring in better people to put around them so they could win championships.
Oh, if Iceman is listening right now, he is yelling at us.
Well, I don't know what to tell him, man.
No, I'm with you there. And this is all Derek Carr's fault. All right, I blame Derek Carr's agent. Whoever got that guy a whole bunch of money, because he is technically done. Him and Matt Stafford have both done the same thing. They've gotten their team to the playoffs and then have not won a playoff game. Why are you getting paid like you've done something? Tom Brady should be the most paid athlete in the NFL ever.
But Tom Brady knows that he's, if not the greatest ever, he's damn sure made it to where it's impossible to talk about the greatest ever without his name being brought up by anybody. And anybody that refuses to bring his name up in that conversation just hates Tom Brady. They just have a prejudice against him, and they don't care about facts. They're running around with their feelings and wearing their heart on their sleeve, bumping into walls and shit. So he knows when he retires, unless he fucks up and puts his foot in his mouth real bad about politics, which he's flirted with a few times now, or he gets caught fucking a baby, like I always say, unless you get caught with your dick in a child, pretty much once you reach a certain status, you only fail up. He's only going to do better. And he's married to a woman who, last time I looked, is worth more than he is.
Yeah, he knows what's up.
You know, I mean, and it's not like he ain't worth shit. It's not like he's, I got a couple million in the bank and my sugar mama takes care of me. I guarantee you he's, his worth is somewhere in the 100 million range somewhere. So, he wouldn't take this contract. He wants to win championships. Matt Stafford wants to get paid.
Matt Stafford just had twins.
And twins, and...
Hey, you know what? If I'm not going to win Super Bowl, I'm at least going to get paid.
Let's be honest. Here in Detroit, we've had to put up with Kelly Stafford's mouth. And if you can't, as a professional athlete, try to explain to your old lady, for the sake of my career and all this lifestyle you love, please shut the fuck up. And she goes, you don't tell me what to do. My own father don't tell me what to do. And all that bullshit. He's looking at a divorce down the road somewhere, so she's taking half. And
he's front loading on his divorce settlement.
Yeah. If he's smart, any place they own a house where she can file divorce, he's already went and talked to all the top divorce lawyers, so it's poisoned the well for her. But that's if he's smart. But, I mean, let's be honest. He's a football player. He seems like a cool guy to hang out with, drink some beers, eat some pizza. Don't think you're going to talk about, like, quantum physics with him. That's just...
He's probably taking a couple hits to the head.
Yeah. I mean, he comes off as the typical Nike flip-flop wearing backwards hat. Don't want to wear a shirt with sleeves unless I have to, bro. And yes, I'm gonna stereotype those type of guys. Most of those guys, they're not deep thinkers.
Walks in like, hey Gronk, hand me a beer.
Exactly. He has opened a beer with his teeth by biting into it more than once.
Oh, absolutely. That footage is on the internet, and I bet we can find it if we really wanted to try.
There you go. So, but no, man, this is.
I made all that up.
This is, to me, the argument. These type of contracts are the counter argument to the argument I made about the Players Association last week. People who hate unions, hate the Players Association, are completely on the side of the owners, or people who are just looking to be contrarians. This type of contract gives them all the ammo they need because of what you just said multiple times since we brought this subject up. What the fuck does he want? What does he want?
Nothing.
He doesn't even have a winning record.
Backed into the playoffs last year.
The
division was theirs to lose, and they lost it.
So I'm not a Lions fan, but I understand that the Lions didn't draft with an eye towards we better draft a quarterback to replace him when his contract's up, because we're not going to pay him like he's the best player in the league, because he's not. They just chose to pay him like he's the best player in the league. And the only thing I can think is that they're thinking, hopefully this lights a fire under his ass. This means he's going to go out and he's going to play like the best player in the league. I would say odds are looking...
If he starts getting his shit busted in, what does it matter? Tom Brady wouldn't be Tom Brady if he's always on the ground.
Well, I mean, historically, look at guys who sign these huge contracts. They never live up to them, really. And we have a lot of guys in Detroit that have been signed the contracts in their sport that are along these lines. Cabrera in baseball, the Datsuk and Zetterberg contracts, the Jimmy Howard contract. So right there's 3 contracts on the Red Wings. I mean, basketball, I don't know. Dumar's for at least for a while there during the 90s or the 90s, the 2000s seemed to be able to keep a team with a lot of different egos in check, not only as far as behavior and team chemistry, but as far as paychecks also. I mean, eventually it was going to run out. That's how come Big Ben left, because he said, I want to get paid top dollar. And they were like, we love you, man. We have a whole marketing campaign built around you. Fear the Fro. But you ain't worth top dollar. Go get paid somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. Bulls thought so. Mm. They're bad.
And what did they win with them?
Yeah, exactly.
Not try. And I'm not running, Ben down at all. He fan favorite, seemed like a very cool guy. Obviously one of the better players at his position in his prime. Doesn't mean he needed to make all that money. He wasn't anybody's final piece to the solution to the championship puzzle. So, time will tell, man. Time will tell. I see this as the only move Detroit could do unless they want to just throw their hands up and say, fuck it.
Hey, well, they're going to go 14-2 this year. So, I mean, that's why they paid him.
Well, of course they're going to go 14-2.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Iceman's already declared that, so.
I still can't believe he said that. Well, yeah, you got the highest paid player in the game. You should go 14-2, right?
Well, what did they do when they had the highest paid player in the game before?
Went to the playoffs and lost in the first round.
I mean, and I'll step into the role of Iceman. Dude, boss, there's 11 guys on the field. He's only one. He can't do everything by himself there, boss. So I don't know what you're talking about. So,
well, it does play into what I was saying earlier. Like, if he's always on the ground, what's it matter? Like, you need to put better people around him.
Okay, well, let's be honest. What running game does he have?
Amir Abdullah, if he can stay healthy. What do we got? Javid Best 2.0. Only with this motherfucker, it's always his knee.
I mean, where you ranking it? Abdullah, as far as running backs, in the league, where are you putting him?
Middle of the pack at best.
There you go. A 40-degree day, and no one's scared of a 40-degree day.
Nope.
All right. So I mean, if they want to try to run the ball 25 times and they don't even break 100 yards with them, what is there to be feared with a fucking play action? Nothing.
Not a goddamn thing.
You can have defenses just sitting back in the buckwheat waiting for the deep ball, because they know even if they hand it off, he's going to get what? If he gets 5-6 yards, that's a respectable run.
Yeah, meanwhile, then you just double cover Golden Tate the entire game.
Well, I honestly though, what else could they have done? In your opinion, what else could they have done?
You say Colin Kaepernick? No, wait, this is not my opinion. It's Rob Parker's. We'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
No, I mean, preseason's over, right? We're officially waiting on. They have a gap week now between the end of preseason and beginning of season, but whatever. Season officially starts a week from the day this show posts. Yeah, who's out there? Nobody.
Well, I should say
who's out there that you want, I guess, is the real question. Nobody.
Here's the deal. The only way to have this conversation is to start by saying at least 2-3 years ago, the Lions should have, and it's far too late for that. When we're talking about what they should have done years ago to keep from having to sign Stafford to this contract, it's far too late. Because like I said, the only thing they could have done was draft a quarterback and try to teach him up, teach him the system, let him basically apprentice under Stafford, and then go to Stafford and say, here's what we're willing to give you. And if he goes, no, I want more than that. Yeah, well, we got your replacement right here. So you go ahead and have fun on open market looking for that.
Yes.
That's the only thing they could have done. Because this fan base, the Lions treat their fans like the worst passive aggressive relationship I've ever seen. Like they don't care. They just take for granted they're always going to be there. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is basically the Lions equivalent of the boyfriend that walks, that gets up and his old lady sitting there cooking dinner for him, and he just starts putting on his jacket, and she goes, "Where are you going?" And he goes, "The moon, bitch," and walks out the door. You know, like, I don't even have to bother to tell you where the fuck I'm going. You know, like, you ain't going nowhere. The Lions treat their fans like a girlfriend who's so ugly they'll send that bitch to an alley full of rapists at 3 a.m. Like, go get me some bread or some shit. Don't worry, they ain't gonna rape you. You're too ugly. That's exactly how the Lions treat their fans, man. And so, I mean, I hate to say it, but even if they fucking didn't sign Stafford and they said, "Fuck it, we're going through another rebuild," that place would still be fucking full, damn near full.
I'll say, about to quote Oprah on this podcast, whatever. You teach people how to treat you. The fans have taught the Lions how to treat them. They're always going to be there. Even at 0-16, we are selling out games. That's why.
You know, and I said this at one point and about the Tigers before. This is pre-2006 season, and a buddy of mine's dad, we were talking about the Tigers, and he took it completely out of he took it way too literal. I said, "Look, man, I support my teams win or lose." He goes, "That's the problem." I said, "Wait a minute, you're not understanding. What I'm saying is, just because the Tigers suck doesn't mean I go off and become a Yankees fan or a Red Sox fan. I'm not going to go see that product. They're going to have to show me improvement for me to fucking spend money on that product." Now, I went to a lot of games when the Tigers sucked. I went to 3 or 4 games the year that they almost set the all-time loss record. You know what? I didn't pay for those tickets.
The Alan Trammell years.
They were given to me. The reason I had season tickets in 2005 is because they were a birthday gift. So, I mean, you can still support your team, but you don't have to go and give them your fucking money. There's a difference. You can sit at home and watch them on TV and not buy a damn thing that has their logo on it and still be a fan.
I do like how you're vehemently defending that. Like, I didn't pay for money for those.
Well, I mean, I guess if you want to look at it this way, I kind of did, because it came from my wife. Oh. So, you know.
This is true.
We spent money on the tickets, but it was a gift for me, type thing. So, but no, I mean, but
you got to view games without impunity.
Yeah, it's like when her mom bought me a subscription for Rolling Stone for Christmas one year. I was able to read Rolling Stone guilt free because I knew that not one dime of mine went towards that rag. But anyways, before we get too far off the beaten path, no. So that's all Lions fans could do is go, well, fuck it, we're going to stay home. We're going to watch the games at home. Now that they don't have the blackout rule, fuck them.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you can just watch them on Red Zone.
Yeah, better jack up the price of beer. Got to pay that contract.
Well,
but hey, should we get into, since it's related? Should we get the audio of Rob Parker
needing attention?
Hey,
yeah.
Isn't Rob Parker kind of like in that class with Stephen A. Smith? Like, this is what we want from you, so do it.
I don't know if it's what we want. I guess it's what's expected of him. So, I mean, congratulations for being the Sylvester Stallone of fucking sports reporters and always giving us exactly what we expect from you. Anyways, I guess we should explain what we're talking about. Rob Parker came out, or do you have the audio of it?
I do.
Okay.
The page is being an asshole. Oh.
It's because it's a CBS page and they reload on their own constantly. So you can be in the middle of reading it and it reloads and it jumps back up to the top. Why CBS Sports? Why the fuck you do that, I don't know.
Just the shit's full of ads. That's half the problem. It's full of shit that just plays and you don't want it to play. Ugh. Come on. I got to just get Chris Carter. It's just got to be a drop. Just so we can use it. Come on, man.
Or we can just do a Rob Parker. Come on.
Yeah, that would be appropriate right here. Come on. Oh, my God. I'm about to just go to Twitter and grab this because it's where it's from anyway.
Damn, my ad block works well then.
I have Firefox. It's supposed to block fucking everything.
No, I don't. I run 2 ad blockers on Chrome. I don't trust that shit. It's like I run 2 malware and virus antivirus softwares. I don't trust one to do shit. If I had any money and I was fucking constantly, I'd be the type of guy that would get a vasectomy and fucking throw a rubber on just in case.
All right, let me do Twitter. I officially gave up on that because it was a video clip. It was tweeted by Colin Cowherd's show anyway. So it should be accessible once Twitter comes up. He did Adam Sandler drop. Today, Junior? I'm about to switch internet companies. Pretty much been a bunch of horse shit. If you get rid of DirecTV, you're not allowed to get unlimited, unthrottled internet from AT&T anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the highest I can get will still get throttled. Dude, we blow through a gig a month here. It's crazy. But all our TV comes from the internet now, so I can see why that happens. But,
a gig or a terabyte?
Oh, I'm sorry, a terabyte. My bad.
I was going to say, you blow through a gig just loading Facebook.
Blown through a gig during this conversation. Oh, my God.
Well, good. Since you're not playing anything, I can take my medication. So when you hear, no, I'm not doing drugs. Well, not the good kind. Just the ones that keep my heart and blood pressure in check.
Don't worry, just drugs to keep me alive.
Yeah, can't lie. I used to feel that way one time about certain other drugs.
What is going on? I've now tried to load the Facebook. It's a race now between Twitter and Facebook. I was able to search Colin Cowherd on Twitter. Now we're still getting the pinwheels. Jesus fucking Christ. Oh, Facebook loaded back up. See what Twitter said. Nothing. Nothing happened.
The bitch of it is I'm sitting here with, like, it ready to play. I could play it, but you can't hear it, so it does no good.
All right, the screenshot is from, all right, here we go. Cool. Bam. Front page, Twitter. Clicked on it. There we go. Come on.
Against teams that finish over 500 in the season, he's 5-46. He's 1-26 on the road, including a playoff game.
Now, why can't I hear that?
He doesn't beat anybody. Go back to last year. Remember they got off to the good start?
So you can't hear
They
it?
had a good record. Then the last 3 games.
Barely hear it.
Cowboys and Packers.
He had a hurt finger.
He lost all 3 games.
He was hurt.
He never beats anybody. His signature win, because I'll wait.
He beat Green Bay 40
I'll wait.
He beat Green Bay badly.
Was that with Matt Flynn?
Who cares?
No,
He
it's
beat
not
him.
who cares. He doesn't win the big game. Last game of the year at Ford Field against Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. You know what's on the line?
What?
Win the division and have a home playoff game. And go look. In those last 3 games, I just told you, against the Giants, Cowboys, and Packers, he threw 2 touchdowns and 3 picks, and one of the touchdowns in the Packer game came in the final 30 seconds. He was not in those games because when they play good teams, he's just a mediocre quarterback. There's a reason,
by the way,
that the Lions
so far,
one playoff
he's
game
on the same page with us.
57, and it's not an accident.
Okay.
Is he about to go wildly off the road?
Broke into the league. Schwartz, by the way.
Well, I mean,
great coordinator.
True to Rob Parker, he gets his facts mixed up. That's a polite way of saying he starts bullshit and trying to make a point.
Jim Caldwell.
Anybody in the league think he's a top 15 coach?
No.
Okay.
So
he had a defensive
coach. He did go to the Super Bowl with the Colts.
Yeah, Peyton Manning sort of matters.
Okay, I'm just saying he did.
So you have a below-average ownership group. You haven't shown a proclivity to nail drafts. Your coaching has been mediocre. You fired one. He's on multiple coordinators. By the way, when he finally got Jim Bob Cooter, his numbers were through the roof.
Yeah, but they're always through the roof against subpar talent teams.
Yeah, by the way,
that's all I'm saying. Is
Tony Gwynn wasn't batting 400 against Oral Hershiser.
No, but I get that.
I mean, didn't we talk about it last year that
even that playoff game against Dallas, that
the Lions' record last year was
on a call by the
don't believe it because it was all against shitty teams.
2.5 minutes to go, 2 timeouts, and you know,
or at least you and I were saying that.
Down the field it has nothing to do with referees, and you know what? Go and win the game. You know what he did? 4 and out. Game's over.
Okay, let's say you don't.
Most of the Lions' W's last year were against sub 500 teams.
Oh, good hell!
Colin Kaepernick's been to the Super Bowl.
There he goes.
He's been to the NFC Championship.
There goes Rob.
What has Stat Padford done? What? Seriously, hey, God bless him. It's the league. The money's there. I'm not mad at him for taking the money because that's what the market bears.
Colin Kaepernick, better than Matt Stafford.
Absolutely. I would take him any day.
I mean, I guess I see where he's coming from.
Well, except for the fact that it wasn't Matt Flynn playing for Green Bay when Stafford and the Lions beat him in November 2015. It was Aaron Rodgers. And the fact that you're telling me right now, okay, because let's just get this out of the way. The fact that Colin Kaepernick took a knee and now can't get a job in the NFL. How many players are fucking taking knees, sitting down, throwing the fucking fist in the air during the national anthem at this point?
Quite a few.
So you're telling me that they're going to all be cut by their teams?
No.
Okay. So what we've been saying, yes, there are teams that are like, I don't give a fuck if he was there are people who are so fucking stuck in their ideals and their ideologues, and their head are so far up their ass. He could be Tom Brady, and they wouldn't sign him because of what he did. But those are maybe a handful of fucking teams in the NFL. The rest of them are just going, he's not that good.
Yeah, he's not good. He's not that good, and he's not worth all the trouble that he's going to come with.
Exactly. And here's Rob Parker going, well, he went to an NFC championship game. He went to a Super Bowl. Yeah, and who took him there? What coach was coaching him when he did that? The coach that
in khakis.
The same coach that no matter what you say about him has always made quarterbacks look better than they are. He did it at Stanford. He's done it at Michigan the last 2 years, and he did it in San Francisco. Once Kaepernick was not being coached by fucking Jesus in khakis, once NFL defenses and other teams figured out how to stop him, what the fuck did he do?
Crashed and or burned.
So this is for people outside of Detroit. This is what we put up with, or what we put up with, because he's no longer like exclusively a Detroit dweller, as far as I know. He might still keep his house in this, or a Michigan dweller, I should say. He might keep his house in this state, but he's done his best to put himself on the national scene. But this is the type of shit we put up with. Rob Parker has a role to play, and he relishes that role. And it's a stereotype that I'm going to say that if someone listening if someone listening chooses to get offended by it, they can every excuse to call me a racist. But it's a fucking fact. He loves playing the stereotype of the angry black man. This is Rob Parker's shtick. Okay, his radio show here was called Parker and the Man. Take a guess what color his co-host was. And no, the Man wasn't his nickname.
Mark the Man Wilson.
Okay, it wasn't the Man as in you the man. So this is just more. First of all, he's on Colin Cowherd. All right, and have we pretty much all just come to the understanding that Cowherd is like, and when I say this, I don't mean as far as politics. I'm talking about as far as he wants outrage. He's like the Bill O'Reilly of fucking Fox Sports. He's the guy that's going to say shit to get people riled up, and he's going to have people on his fucking show that's going to say shit to get people riled up. So to me, it's not really that big of a deal that you got Rob Parker, who I don't even know if he believes the shit he spouts. I really don't. And if he does, then he's a fucking idiot. But I mean, like one of his things was, the reason that no one goes to Tiger games is because of their treatment of black players in the 50s. And this was in 2004. The fuck? No, the reason no one goes to Tigers game in 2004 is because they suck, stupid.
Yeah.
2 years later proved you wrong. But he never retracted the statement. He never said I stand corrected because he's never wrong. Just ask him. He'll tell you. So, like I said, this is Rob Parker apparently needing attention, and he can't, there's no RG3 to call a corny brother anymore. And Stephen A. Smith and ESPN are done with him because they got their fucking token angry black guy. They don't need two of them on there.
Yeah. Disney has a quota. Only one angry black guy.
So, yeah, I mean, look, yes, does he bring up some valid points? Yes, he does. But to bring up those points, and the reason for bringing them up is to say Kaepernick would be better for the Lions. The business end of his crack pipe must be hot to the touch, okay?
Super hot.
Fuck out of here. I mean, I don't care how big of an SJW you are. If you are a football fan, you know that's bullshit. So, but hey, we've covered it ad nauseum. This is the culture and society we live in right now. And
hey, speaking of something being covered ad nauseum, how about that fight on Saturday?
Oh, you mean two businessmen finessing the world out of $400 million for or $400 million combined payday?
Hey, I will admit when I am wrong. I thought that was going to go the route of Tyson Spinks. I thought within 60 seconds, this would be the world's greatest con job. But apparently McGregor, I slept through this motherfucker. Like I traveled on Saturday. I was in bed by like 7 o'clock. So all my knowledge of this thing is secondhand. I guess McGregor hung. Did you see the fight, Rich?
I saw the last 3 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw highlights of the. Excuse me. Saw highlights of the. What was it? Went 10 rounds, so the first 7.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think we can all agree. I didn't expect McGregor to go 10 rounds. I didn't think he had the endurance to. But I mean, if you look at those last couple rounds, that motherfucker's legs were wobbly as fuck. I mean, he looked like he was walking on stilts at one point. I mean, I don't care if Mayweather's 40 years old. He's conditioned to go 12 rounds.
Yes.
Since what? Probably early teens, maybe even as a preteen, as when he started, training to box.
Yeah.
McGregor's focus is on training for maximum damage, maximum power for what, 3 rounds? That's how many rounds they go in UFC.
Mm-hmm.
So,
hey, he could take a punch. Had to get that in there.
Yeah, well, yeah,
for the Iceman.
And just he's not here, but I will pass along the message that he posted on social media. Everybody can shut the fuck up. I called it. I told you.
I know, right?
I called it. So
what did he call?
That this was a choreographed WWE fight, and it was all fake. That's the only reason McGregor lasted as long as he did.
You are fake news.
So now because this was on his personal account, I won't call out the people who said it, but it's good to know that people that have known both him and I for 20 years started telling him that he's so full of shit, his blue eyes are turning brown. But it doesn't matter. He's the Trump of this podcast. Nothing phases him.
Well, all I remember too is it seemed like the Mayweather Pacquiao fight, the same kind of shit went around for the first couple of days after the fight. Shit about suspicious shit with the referees. And then it seems like that all that talk's kind of died down. You have your initial round of butthurt that goes around, from the losers camp. And then just kind of goes away and like, hey, man, you lost. You got your ass beat.
Well, here's the thing. I heard a discussion on ESPN radio that was, I think, a pretty valid discussion, which was there's no moral victories in sports, but you can come close. You can come damn close to it, was this guy's argument. And he said, if I'm Conor McGregor, one, I'm looking at my payday, and that's how come, even though he lost that fight, he was out in Vegas partying well into the early morning of the next day.
Yeah, I just made $100 million. Everything's on me tonight.
And Mayweather went to his own titty bar that he owns and partied well into the morning of the next day.
Jack, cover up to $500. It's usually $50.
Yep. So neither of these guys were exactly, beat the fuck up. This was not a Rocky Balboa, Apollo Creed, being wheeled out in wheelchairs after the fight. And neither of these guys were really beat the fuck up. But McGregor did better, and I thought he did. And as far as it being,
I'll give him that.
Here's the thing with boxing, man. As far as it being fixed, who the fuck knows, man? There's so much shady shit in boxing's history where we know shit was fixed. We know boxers were paid to take dives. We know boxers were paid to go down at certain times. Jesus Christ. Mayweather tried to bet on himself. He tried to bet that the fight would be over in the 10th, and it was. All right. I mean, come on now.
We're all just going to accept that as a group?
Well, it's just like McGregor walking around with that fucking sock stuffed in his underwear, and everybody just fucking ignored the fact that, he's walking around with, a stuffed crotch. But it was a spectacle. It was exactly what it was supposed to be. And if it had been one of them microwave mini bullshit fights, I think people would have fucking been super pissed. Been like, I didn't pay all this money for this fucking, minute and a half knockout. And that's where I was wrong. I was like, I I think McGregor's going to go out there and start swinging like a wild man, wear himself out. Mayweather's just going to dance around, and he's just going to fucking drop him. But, hey, I don't care even if it was choreographed. It takes a lot of stamina to fucking stay in that ring and fucking go for 10 rounds. So,
yeah.
McGregor put his time in the fucking gym. That's for damn sure. But, I mean, was it like the greatest fight ever? No. Not that I saw, at least.
Now, to me, I viewed it as like Mike Trout telling Tom Brady he could kick his ass in a punt, pass, and kick competition. Like, maybe, but probably not. And it's just like I wouldn't expect Tom Brady to tell, Mike Trout, hey, man, let's do home run derby. I used to play baseball in high school. I'll whoop your ass. No, you would lose. Like, it was someone from a completely different sport saying, hey, I could take you in your sport. But that's just me.
Yeah, and I mean, that is, for a non-boxer, he did well. I mean, but to even have this conversation, we have to go on the assumption that there was no fix and that this wasn't a fucking scripted, choreographed fight. So, I mean, I guess we got to get that out of the fucking way. I mean, what's your feelings? From what you've seen of it, did it look like it was, a scripted, the fixes in, choreographed WWE fight?
I don't know, quite honestly. I guess, I mean, there's always the cynic in me. That, I mean, I've seen Pulp Fiction. Who knows if shit like that went on. I mean, the fact that Mayweather bet it would last 10 rounds and it did, I mean, my bullshit detector goes off right there. Like, oh, really, huh? All right. And again, like, is this stuff we're just supposed to ignore as a group? Like, oh, whatever. Sure, we buy it.
Oh, we've gotten used to ignoring things in society lately.
I suppose.
You can say it's become a specialty of Americans to just turn a blind eye towards one thing and focus on another.
Oh, yeah. It's a moneymaker nowadays.
But, I mean, okay, so going under the assumption it was a legit fight. It was a better fight than I expected. And I'm not going to go so far as to pull a fucking Iceman and break my arm, patting myself on the back, or get a couple ribs removed so I can fold myself in half and blow myself. But the fact that they were all smiles and hugging on each other and shit when the fight was done pretty much told me everything I needed to know, that all that bullshit leading up to the fight was just that. It was WWE bullshit to get people hyped up.
Yeah, they're both smiles. They're both, oh my God, dude, we both just made so much fucking money.
Yeah, I mean, the reports I'm hearing is between 300 and 350 for Mayweather and 100 million for McGregor.
Yep. God
now,
damn.
Even if it's half of that, that is fucking a huge amount of money.
How are you supposed to tell kids to go to school when Floyd Mayweather can't read?
Exactly.
Like, I made this the gross domestic product of a small country in one night,
and it'll probably be like the cat in the hat.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the thing that, and this is just me, and I guess maybe that I can be accused of being, oh, I got my SJW hat on or whatever the fuck. But what bothers me about all the press conference bullshit is that I really did see an ugly side of that, because people were dividing themselves up along racial lines depending on who they support, or when it came to who they supported. I saw a bunch of white people who didn't give a shit about boxing before that first press conference, all of a sudden all in McGregor's corner making excuses for everything he said. And once it became pretty obvious that the whole dance for me boy thing wasn't a cultural, he wasn't using boy as in like boyo in the, Irish cultural way. He was using it in the way we thought he was using it in, especially when they asked him about Rocky 3 and he said, oh, that's the dancing monkeys one.
Yeah.
All right, and then Mayweather coming out calling him a bitch and a faggot and everything else, and everybody jumping on him because, oh, that's homophobic and misogynistic language and all this shit. And really, then you start hearing, well, Mayweather's really 51-0 because he, beat the shit out of his ex-girlfriend, knocked her ass out, et cetera, et cetera. And then the accusations of racism start flying, and then the dumbest statement I've ever, one of the dumbest words we've somehow allowed to creep into our fucking lexicon, which is reverse racism. There's just racism, folks. There's no reverse racism.
Yeah.
But anyways, that started getting thrown about. And it was like, part of me is like, you know what? As much as I don't mind Conor McGregor's personality, as much as I find him amusing, as I guess I should be more hate-filled towards Mayweather than I am, but I'm not. I just find him like, yeah, you're just there. You're one of the you're technically, as far as technical ability, one of the best boxers ever, but you're probably a shitty human being.
Oh yeah.
But whatever. There's plenty of shitty human beings walking this earth right now. Like, I don't know. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth, man. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth that they played off of racial tensions, which are damn near at a boiling point in this country, to hype the fight. But at the same time, the pragmatic side of me says, well, what the fuck were they supposed to do to somehow hype this fight?
Yeah. I can't disagree with you there, really.
I mean, we literally watched 20 years later the real-life version of the Great White Hype.
Yeah. And he still lost.
Yep. to quote Damon Wayans in that movie, my blackness will beat that white boy.
I mean, Floyd, with the gloves, be blacker. Did you see his gloves?
Yeah.
I mean, I know how that sounds. I don't care. But I mean, you might as well have been holding a fucking drumstick in one of them and a can of grape soda in the other, man. Like, you're not exactly helping out the community as far as busting stereotypes.
What, just because they were gold?
Yeah. I mean, why don't you just have Everlast in diamonds? I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, but that's his shtick, man. That's his shtick.
That's Money Mayweather. That's true.
You know, but yeah, man. It got what I'm assuming boxing wanted, and it got. I'm assuming both that. This isn't even an assumption. I'm pretty damn sure. I'd bet the house and everything in it that it got exactly what both those fighters wanted, which was a huge payday for them both.
Yeah, lots of publicity. I'm sure Dana White doesn't mind all the free publicity MMA was getting.
Exactly. Next time Conor McGregor steps in the octagon, what the fuck you think's going to happen? Them ratings are going to go up.
Yeah. You're going to have broken streams. I guess there was a lot of that going on. Like, so many people ordered it. Like, just a lot of servers couldn't handle the traffic. I believe there's going to be a class action lawsuit against Showtime, which I don't understand. Like, if Showtime gave you your money back, what's the deal? Well,
that also leads to an interesting... excuse me. That leads to an interesting point, which is there was an estimated, 10 million people who watched pirated versions of this.
Mm-hmm.
I know that I was at work. Well, I had to give a coworker a ride home. And when I got home, it was the last 3 rounds of the fight. And on my Facebook feed, probably every third post was a live stream of the fight.
Yeah, so somebody live streaming it in front of their TV. Oh, and get the fuck out of here with this lawsuit. Because it ain't even about a Portland, Oregon man, shocking, has filed a class action lawsuit against Showtime for the poor quality of the Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor fight. The complaint filed in federal court in Oregon and obtained by USA Today Sports is seeking $200, not million, $200 in statutory damages or actual damages for each person in that action, whichever is greater. Oh, okay, class action. He bought the fight on the Showtime app and iTunes, but instead of watching it in high definition as advertised, he got grainy video, error messages, and buffer messages. His suit claims that Showtime engaged in unlawful trade practices and unjust enrichment. You didn't know the technical specs of what dude, if this is he's got an iPad 2, right? Is that what's going on here? Like, this sounds like somebody who didn't know his technical specs of his shit. I don't know. I guess I'm always, a cynic, so to speak. But instead of being upfront with consumers about its new, untested, underpowered service, Defendant caused likelihood of confusion and misunderstanding as to the source and quality of the HD video consumers would see on fight night. Wow. So there's a class action lawsuit because they didn't get HD video. And we're done. Let's pack it up. Let's fold it up. Wow. Really? Again, Chris Carter. Come on, man.
Well, I think the fact that so many people pirated it and Facebook was doing its best to keep up with removing posts, but they couldn't, just shows that, excuse me. You know, so one person said this in a discussion I heard on local sports radio about it, which was, this goes to show you that you're going to charge $100 for a fight. You're going to have people that are going to do this. You know, why don't you charge $50 for a fight? Stop acting like, you know, you're selling the cure for cancer through this pay-per-view. But at the same time, it's like, even if the shit was $10 per fight, there'd be people that would rip it off and steal it for free.
And, you know, circling back to our discussion about the Lions, people will pay it. If this was like, if they were expecting to break pay-per-view numbers like they did, and they didn't, and they had a significantly less amount of traffic than they expected of orders for this pay-per-view, then the next one would probably be $50. But they broke records. People paid the $100. Bars were paying thousands of dollars to get this thing piped in. So, yeah, they did it because they can. Because we're the fucking idiots that'll pay it. Well, not two idiots on this podcast, but...
Oh, yeah, and there was... I had more than a few friends who went to bars, and they paid $50, $60 to get in. And that's just to get in to watch the fight. You know damn well there weren't no drink specials going on. Or if there were, it was like, you know, if you go into the next day, the, you know, double shot you got for $15 on drink special was $15 the next day, regular price.
But you have to look at it this way, too. My girlfriend is a bartender at Irish dive bar on the corner. They were quoted $3,500 to get this pay-per-view because they go by, like, I guess, like, with stuff like that, they go by, like, the occupancy of the bar and all that shit. You know what? So, yeah, little tiny dive bar being quoted $3,500. So who knows what, like, Buffalo Wild Wings is being quoted? You know, that kind of shit. You know, you're probably getting upwards of $10,000 from locations.
Well, I know one bar, it shall remain nameless. One of the employees brought in a Fire Stick, plugged it in, everybody watched it for the price of the actual fight at the bar. It was $100, and they streamed it through their Fire Stick. So
that's technology, son.
I mean, that bar must have cleaned up compared to other bars. But then again, if that bar was doing it, other bars were doing it.
Smart ones were.
But I mean, this goes back to when is the last time you have even considered paying for a pay-per-view boxing match?
The last thing I probably paid for pay-per-view was my part of a wrestling pay-per-view like 20 years ago.
I mean, I think the last boxing match that I would have actually chipped in with some friends for a pay-per-view to watch was definitely pre-internet days.
Yeah.
Or at least, you know, pre-high-speed internet being as available as it is.
It would have involved Mike Tyson.
Yeah, 97, Tyson Holyfield.
If I would have done it.
The bite fight.
Yeah. When that left a permanent mark on Evander Holyfield.
And as it stands, I was in Florida and I watched it at a bar for free. So there you go. You know, when that happened, that's where I was living, and a buddy of mine picked me up. We went to a bar and watched it for free. So, I mean, hey, boxing got the exposure it wanted. If Mayweather sticks true to his word and he goes out and he retires, he never steps back in the ring, to me that leaves a big void in boxing at this point.
Dude, if you are him, you have to. You're never beating this payday.
No.
You got to go out on top. You broke pay-per-view records, probably the biggest payday ever for a boxer. You can't, I mean, he probably thought there was nowhere. I mean, 'cause, now I'm going to just shit on my own point. I mean, never say never. He probably thought there was no higher to go after Pacquiao. But, I mean, unless they do a rematch and he's going to get $500 million, I mean, you stop right now, right? You've never lost. You're breaking records. You beat someone from another sport who talks some shit who's like a half your age.
And 50-0 is a nice round number to go out on.
Is there any scenario that comes up where it ends better than right now for you, Floyd? If there is, I mean, it's highly implausible.
I don't see it.
Like Floyd Mayweather versus Donald Trump, and the winner gets $1 billion.
Dude, think of the money just from college students alone to watch. They would pay so much money to watch Donald Trump take an ass whooping. All of a sudden, them Antifa people would be going to mom and dad. Mom, Dad, I know I need a new head. What do you call it? Ski mask. But could you instead order the Mayweather Trump fight for me?
Yeah, they can scream about how they need their service animal.
Please.
Did you see that from over the weekend?
Oh, I'm so glad I'm not the only one that saw that. We're saving that. We're definitely saving that for fucking unregimented.
Yeah.
But yes, just as a little teaser, if you want to know what we're talking about, tune into Unregimented this week. It'll be up on Saturday, the Saturday after we post this.
Oh yeah.
It's that one's a good one. Yeah, buddy. But no, man. I mean, here's it's done. It's over with. Let's say Mayweather stays retired. Here's boxing's problem. What the fuck do they do from here? Yeah. They have no boxing's bread and butter's always been heavyweights. They have no heavyweights anyone gives a fuck about.
What's his name? Alvarez?
I don't even know.
Is that supposed to be the?
You know how bad it is. I'm like an American talking to someone from a third world country and they're like, oh, so your president's Trump. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, well, my president's name is, and I'm like, I don't want to know that shit. I don't care.
Canelo Alvarez. I remember the Iceman dropping his guy's name. Like, this is the guy. And more than just Iceman. I mean, Bill Burr on the Monday Morning Podcast. Free plug for him. But he brought this guy up. He's like, this is the guy that everyone should be paying attention to. So is he the next? Is he the heir apparent to Mr. Floyd Money Mayweather? Well, let's see. If he's ever lost a fight, no.
And, I mean, just they asked Mike Tyson what his opinion was of the fight not that long after the fight had concluded. And Tyson gave a quote that was perfect. He said, these guys are businessmen. I was a fucking killer in the ring.
Ooh.
I went in the ring to end people's lives. These guys go in to make money. And he didn't limit it just to Mayweather and McGregor. He was talking about boxers these days. And until there's a heavyweight boxer who comes in like a goddamn rabid bulldog like Mike Tyson does and just starts mowing people down, no one's going to give a fuck. I'll tell you what boxing could do to maybe save its ass. Legit try to get McGregor in as a boxer.
Hey, Canelo Alvarez, he is 34-1. He's a Mexican ginger.
Oh, he's a Louis C.K.?
It says nationality Mexican. And Canelo is his nickname, and it means cinnamon. And pictures of this guy, dude, he is got... speaking of Bill Burr, I mean, this guy looks like Bill Burr. Wish he did 30 years ago. Red hair. Oh, Mexican gin. They make them in Mexican?
Yeah, Louis C.K.
I mean, looking at this guy, for Irish. This is the first thing I would think.
Well, maybe he's like Mexican and Irish mixed. So in the boxing world, that's a hell of a combination right there.
Wikipedia, it says nationality Mexican. Canelo Alvarez, commonly known as Saul Alvarez, or by his nickname Canelo Alvarez. His full name is Santos Saul Alvarez Burr. I don't even know. I'm white. Santos Saul Alvarez Barragan. Baragan.
Yeah, that's why he goes by Alvarez.
Yeah.
But no, man, seriously, what else could they do but try to get McGregor in as a full-time professional boxer?
He has apparently fought Mayweather and lost.
I mean, that's it. That's all they can do and he would have to continue to fight name people. And there's not that many people that are that big of a name in the boxing world to where the casual fans going to give a shit.
So if you're Conor McGregor, you stay in MMA because that's where that's where your paydays are going to be. But I mean, you just made $100 million.
He ain't never going to make that in MMA.
Yeah.
MMA is still probably 10 years and like one or two just, holy shit, this guy just crippled this guy fighters away from $100 million paydays. I mean, what's the biggest payday in an MMA match? I mean, I've heard rumors of like 10, 15 million. That's a long way from 350 million for the top guy in MMA, which would be like what just happened for Mayweather. That's a long way from 100 million for McGregor. So, I mean, it's got a ways to go, but you know, hey, maybe this was, and I've heard this talked about in other sports shows. Maybe this was boxing's, great big last gasp at
relevance.
Trying to be relevant. Yeah. To not be in a niche sport. Now they fall into the category like the NHL and soccer and shit like that. Now they're a niche sport. There's a very rabid but small fan base, and they're going to have to adjust their ideas of what they're going to make accordingly. Problem is boxing was so big and had no competition for so long that I don't know if that culture can shift its mindset to we are now number 2, and that's just where we're going to stay until that once in a lifetime fighter comes along. And the bitch of it is that there's going to be a whole lot of crying wolf. There's going to be a whole lot of boxing people who want boxing to be back at the top of the fighting sports, the mind of people who are into fighting sports. So they're going to be calling every guy that comes down the line who shows any promises, this is that next, that once in a lifetime guy. And when it doesn't happen, the casual fans are going to go, okay. And then by the third, fourth time they say it, the casual fans are going to be like, well, what the fuck ever. Even if he is, fuck it, I don't care anymore.
Stop lying to me.
Exactly.
Hey, so as you lose, you're not Floyd Mayweather.
Exactly. That's why Tyson had the mystique he had going into the Buster Douglas fight. Was that Tyson had never lost up to that point, and he was winning. Granted, he was fighting. He fought a lot of people past their prime, a lot of guys who were nobodies on his way up. But I mean, I don't know, isn't that part of the whole rising through the ranks of boxing? At least back in the day. You get to pound on a bunch of nobodies on your way up to the top. The Glass Joes of the WBAs.
Isn't that how you get to the top?
Exactly. But I mean, if he had not lost against Buster Douglas and he'd have continued on and then he'd have finally met with like Holyfield without the whole prison thing and shit and got his clock cleaned, the story and the legacy of Mike Tyson would be much different than it is right now.
Hey, he still landed on his feet. They still got that awful cartoon show on Adult Swim. Mike Tyson Mysteries.
Yeah, he landed on his feet, but he didn't land on his feet, like Muhammad Ali landed on his feet, even though Muhammad Ali lost.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I mean...
Yeah, it took a couple decades for Mike to get back on his feet.
Yeah. So... Well, yeah, I mean, to be honest with you... This is a subject I really wish, Earl was here for. We could use the Iceman's opinion on this because to me, I was like, okay, it was it was a bigger spectacle than I thought it was going to be, but it's still a spectacle and it's over with. And this is not going to be one of those fights where people are going to be like, where were you when it happened? I don't care how big the payday was. It didn't have the upset. It didn't have the... I mean, they stopped the fight, yes, and every expert I've heard talk about it said they should have stopped the fight. But nobody went down. There's no standing over the top of them and pictures being taken, for the history books.
Yeah. There's going to be no iconic...
moment, really. I mean, what's the iconic moment? Mayweather hitting McGregor and snot flying out of his nose and a Nike logo?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the picture I see the most. If that's the most iconic picture from this fight's just going to go down as a footnote. I mean, this isn't where were you when Tyson lost to fucking Douglas? Where were you when Tyson bit Holyfield's ear? Where were you when Muhammad Ali beat Foreman? Where were you during the Rumble in the Jungle? Where were you, and all this shit? So, I don't know, man. enjoy it, boxing. I think that was your last gasp. I think you better seriously make your peace with going to the back burner of the sports world from here on out.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of fights, though, we had one. We had one here locally, sorta, with Miguel Cabrera. Now? I heard he got suspended 7 games. Is he still playing because he's appealing, or what? What ended up being the end result of this?
From what I gathered, he's appealing it, and you can play while you're still appealing. I think the more interesting thing is it's interesting to say, how many games he got suspended, which is 7. But still, I think the more interesting thing is what the fuck brought this on in Miggy, of all people. Because if you've watched Miggy in and out, day in and day out, like I'm assuming Chris has, and I know I have, with his career with the Tigers, this is not a guy who goes out there and trudges through his day. This is a guy who goes out there and has fun on the fucking diamond. You can actually see he loves being out there and playing the game. So for him to fucking tee off on a dude, like trying to land real haymakers, not no bullshit. This is probably he was trying to land punches like they got landed on Batista. Jose Batista, and when Odor fucking rocked his world at second base. Mm-hmm. I mean, this was Robin Ventura and Nolan Ryan. Like he wanted to be Nolan Ryan out there pounding on this guy.
Well, it's true, and he's not that guy. He's never been that guy. The I start shit guy.
And I don't care what was said at the plate. There's got to be shit talk going on constantly. Because even you, if you're listening to this and you never played any Little League sports, that's strange. I'm just going to say. No judgment, but it's strange. But even in Little League, we talk shit to each other out there. When you're going through the line, you're supposed to be saying good game. You're going, fuck your mother, fuck your sister, suck my dick, lick my asshole. You're not saying good game unless the coach is right behind you. And you're going to get the shit slapped out of you if you say something like that and get caught. So, there's shit talking constantly going on in sports. So I don't buy into, he just said the right thing to piss him off. What's the right thing to piss Miggy off? Couldn't it have been said in 2009? What's up, drunk?
Yeah. I know. I was going to say, the only thing, time he's really been that guy is get a couple pops in him. Arrest him. Show the dash cam footage.
And I hate to say this because it's going to sound like I'm defending him because I'm defending domestic violence, but I'm not. But that whole situation was he went home drunk and got into it with his old lady. Well, I'm going to go out on a limb and say his old lady wasn't exactly sitting there just going, "Hey, honey, glad to see you home after you drove home drunk, and partying." I'm pretty sure that there was some fucking heated words and shit, and alcohol played a factor in what the fuck happened. And let's not forget, he exactly wasn't, he was marked up there for a few days afterwards. So she got a couple good ones in on him. So whatever happened, because it was never really, as far as I know, there's never been any, which is amazing. There's never been any leaks. There's never been any photos of his wife beaten up or police reports leak saying that he beat it, that he walked in, started beating his wife's ass, or his wife started beating his ass. There's only been rumors and shit. So everything we have points to him not being this guy. And now he flips his lid. This is telling me that there's something going on that team that is not good for that team. And then what? Didn't Verlander get into it with a player back in the dugout after the fight?
You just think it's just tensions of the season's over and...
I don't know what it is, man. This is the one thing. Okay, when David Price was when they traded for David Price and they brought him here to Detroit, David Price walked in the clubhouse and showed his ass real quick. And it was a very poorly kept secret here in Detroit that David Price didn't want to be here and that he was acting accordingly and being an asshole to everybody. Outside of that, I can't think of any major clubhouse chemistry, beefs, anything since the first year Leland took over in 2006. So, I mean, is this the wheels coming off? And
well, there's Prince Fielder and Avisail Garcia,
but I mean, that's even then they were like later Garcia.
Yeah,
they nipped that in the bud real quick. Like, we're going to trade him into the division just to get him the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
So I mean, that's what I'm getting at. Is this awesomeness just his lack of leadership? And the fact that this shit is going on and you have players going at each other. And if I remember correctly, last year you had McCann going after another Tigers player. I can't remember his name. In the dugout. And McCann's he's basically an FNG. And they were talking about how he was stepping up and taking a leadership role by doing that because the other guy was out there fucking, playing like his feet were in concrete. And McCann called him on it. Well, when you're getting your leadership from someone who's a fucking basically, a cunt's hair away from being a rookie, that's not a good look for a team full of veterans. So there's just something more to this that we're not hearing.
Hey, man, there's more guys. There's more guys in that team with more. Say that again. There are guys in that team with more tenure than the manager, though.
That's true. Also,
that's always kind of. I've never understood that choice. I know it's well worn ground with you and I've never understood that choice with Brad Ausmus. I don't get it. But
when Joel Madden was no longer with Tampa, the first thing I said is offer him whatever the fuck he wants to come to Detroit. Because I used to be one of the people that didn't think a manager made a difference. And then I saw Jim Leland take a team in his first season and do something with them that just the year before I was like, oh, that's impossible, which is go to the World Series. So that pretty much made me change my mind. And a manager can turn a team around and the culture in a clubhouse. And the infamous story is it was a Sunday getaway game here in Detroit with the Tigers playing the A's. And the Tigers went out there like they just didn't give a shit. They just wanted to get the game over with, get on the plane, and go to the next fucking town that they were going to play in. And Leland threw the fucking press out of the clubhouse, shut the doors, and went the fuck off on those guys and said, this is not how I fucking manage. This is not how teams I manage play. You play for 9 fucking innings. And if you people don't want to play for 9 innings, I'll go the fuck home and retire. I don't need to be here. You need me. I don't need you. So figure out what the fuck you want and act accordingly and walk the fuck out of the clubhouse. And then they went on that tear in April of 2006.
I mean, if you would have told me in 2005, hey, you'll be in the World Series next year, I would have laughed in your face.
Mm-hmm.
And said, pass that shit over because it is good shit.
Even during the 2 highlights of the 2005 season, which was opening day, with Dmitry Young hitting 3 home runs, and them, I mean, I think it was like 12-2, just plowing into the fucking Royals' asshole on opening day. When hope springs eternal. Even on opening day, if you'd told me, hey, going to the World Series, I'd have laughed my ass off at you. And then the other highlight of that season is Mike Maroth's one-hitter against the New York Yankees. Even on that day, I'd have fucking told you, get the fuck out of my face with that nonsense. Yeah. Or either that or pass what you're smoking, because it's good shit.
Here's a name I haven't heard in a while. Mike Maroth.
But those were the 2 highlights of that season, really. As sad as that is, I mean, those really were the 2 highlights of that season. Even Verlander, when they called him up for the September call-ups, didn't, set the world on fire for the last month he was here of that year.
I recall that. When he was the rookie phenom.
So, I don't know, man. I think, to me, this is the final nail in the coffin of the run the Detroit Tigers have had since 2006. And I'm afraid instead of doing anything proactive, they're just going to fucking continue to sign whatever players they can for more money than they're worth. They're going to continue to fucking let players go who don't want to be here because there's no chance of winning anymore. And they're going to continue to fucking try to unload the contracts of guys like Verlander and Miggy. And it's just not going to happen until a team gets really, really desperate at the trade deadline, especially since Miggy is not getting any younger.
No.
Verlander, pitchers are weird, man. And Verlander's proven to be a weird pitcher. He can have a fucking off season and then come back and have an amazing season. He can pitch one night and you're like, oh, his career is over. And the next time you see him start, you're like, what the fuck? Where'd this come from?
Where you been, buddy? Yeah, he's kind of doing that this season again.
So, yeah, it would suck for the Tigers as far as morale and the clubhouse, but I almost wish there was like someone on that fucking team that would anonymously go to the press and be like, this is what the fuck's going on. But then again, I don't know if it would do any good. That's just that's purely as a fan, I want to know what the fuck's going on.
Hey, where else I want to know what the fuck's going on? Los Angeles. Dude. Weren't you telling, what was it? The Dodgers haven't been swept, haven't lost a series yet this year?
Yeah.
God damn.
I mean, they're what? As we're recording this, 91-38. I want to say 120 wins is regular season record. Let me see here. Nope. Look at the 11 teams with the most win in a single season in MLB history. Let's see. Looks like, yeah, I was off here. Looks like, looks to be in 1906 Cubs, 116.
2 years before the drought.
But and then here's who I thought it was. But this is in the modern era, so I guess in the modern era, it's 2001. Seattle Mariners, 116 as well.
Holy, they are 91-30. They have a 705 winning percentage.
Yeah.
Good Lord. The Diamondbacks are at 557. That's respectable, and they're 19 games out. They are 15 games over 500, and they are 19 games out. Holy shit.
Yeah, if you're the Diamondbacks or the Rockies, you're just sitting there going,
what do I got to do?
I won't be buying fucking lottery tickets this year. That's just bad luck, dude.
Yeah, I mean, any other division, you are in first place. Well, maybe not the NL East. But the NL Central, you're in first place.
But remember earlier in the season, we're talking about the Astros, and they weren't that far behind. The Astros are 79-52.
Yeah, and any other division but the AL West, they'd be in first place or fighting for it.
The Nationals are 79-51. I mean, Red Sox, Yankees, 75, 57, 70, and 60, respectively. Indians, 74 and 56. I mean, dude, these just head and shoulders above anybody else in MLB right now. So, I mean, to me, the only question is are they going to do what the 2001 Mariners did? Are they going to get in the playoffs and then just shit the bed? I mean, because the Yankees got rid of them in the American League Championship Series in 5 games.
We'll see. I always hate when we say we'll see, but I mean, really, they could probably, we're what, September? It's about to be September. Good God. They could honestly, could they lose every game from here on out and still make the playoffs? Maybe not. Maybe got to wait another week to make that distinction.
Yeah, I'd give it another week just to be safe.
Because, right now there's probably, 20-plus games. Well, they're what, 90, do the math. 91-38. That's 9, so that's 139. So, they got 22 games left. 23?
Yeah.
So, get through one more week, and then they could probably lose every game and still make the playoffs.
But, I mean, here's the thing about baseball that makes it rough. I mean, you have such a long season. Such a fucking long season. So many games compared to other sports. Then you get to the playoffs, and it's just short and brutal. And all it takes is when those teams go to 4-man pitching rotations for playoff series, all it takes is 2 or 3 hot pitchers on the team you're playing. And all of a sudden, they're just missing your bats. And it's game over, man. I mean, we watched it happen with the Tigers in 2006 against the Yankees. No one was giving the fucking Tigers that series before it started. No one. Not even the biggest homer here in Detroit did I hear say, oh, yeah.
Not even the
Tigers. they're gonna take the Yankees. Oh, let's put it this way: if he wasn't here, the rally for that series that they held downtown. 200 people showed up too. He wasn't one of them. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm getting at. That 200 people showed up to a fucking rally. Now, if that had been 2007 and they were going against the Yankees after what they did in 2006, you could at least put one more zero on that.
We're charging $100 for parking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. $60 to get into Chelly's Chili, $100 to get into fucking Hockeytown Cafe. You best believe it. But no, man, I mean, it's my hope of a Nationals Astros World Series, I don't think it's gonna come to pass. But I mean, at this point, a Dodgers Astros World Series,
you know that the league wants Boston and Dodgers, or the Yankees and the Dodgers.
Oh, without a doubt, without a fucking doubt. I mean, that's a given. I mean, when the league had to be like, oh my God, we got Cleveland and we got the Cubs in there in the World Series last year. Yeah. And they had to just be rock hard at the thought of, if the Cubs win it, this is going to give us like 2004 Red Sox World Series ratings. Mm-hmm. And if Cleveland wins it, yeah, it's not as long of a fucking drought. But I mean, that would have broke that fucking 60-year drought, whatever it is for them. Mm-hmm. I mean, so either way, they were like, oh shit, that deciding game, there's going to be people tuning in just because it's historic. The thing with the Dodgers is, if they tie or match or do better than the all-time wins in the season, go to the World Series and win it, there'll be people to watch it just because they're making history. I mean, this is me. I'm an asshole. I like to throw monkey wrenches and shit. I'd love it if the Dodgers went up against the Astros and the Astros fucking beat their ass in fucking 4 games. I'd laugh my ass off. Yeah. I mean, I'd be like, especially if the Dodgers get the, all-time wins for the season. Okay, what good that do you when it came? Yeah, that's like 18-1. How's that feel, Boston?
No. Ooh. Take that, Patriots.
And to add insult to injury, what was the last regular season game you played, and who was it against? The fucking Giants.
Yep.
So that means they were like, got him. If we see him in the World Series, see him in the Super Bowl, it ain't gonna be a repeat of tonight.
No, but instead, Eli Manning hit that home run.
Yeah, well, let's be honest, dude.
David Tyree.
How the fuck he did not go down in a sack, I'll never know. I mean, dude, everyone thought he was sacked. I was at I clearly remember being at the bar watching it, and everyone started groaning. And then all of a sudden, wait a minute, he's not on the ground? How did that happen? Oh, shit, look at that catch. That was exactly how it went.
It's an easy joke with Eli Manning, but he's got that retard strength. We all know that's the joke we all make behind closed doors every Sunday.
As he gets closer to his sack, his autism intensifies. He's like, oh, I better get out of this. I don't like people touching me.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's coming down to it, man. It's baseball. We're getting into the home stretch, and
last week of regular season for my fantasy team. I'm making the playoffs. I'm coming in that number 4 spot. I had to suffer through Justin Verlander. I had to sit through Baumgartner's fucking injury. Thank God he bounced back. We'll see. But yeah, we're getting so close. So close. We actually get to make picks this week. We got the college games, but we'll get to those later.
Well, one more thing about baseball is Giancarlo Stanton. He's sitting at home run 51 now.
So he's our leader. So for the season. Remember back when Judge was on the fucking pace to just destroy it, and
yeah. Well, what I'm getting at is something I heard talked about on a few different shows, which is there's certain things in life we all know to be true just because we know it's true. OJ killed Nicole and Ron. McGuire and Sosa were roided up, and we know Bonds was roided up.
Ty Cobb was an asshole.
Easily. Yeah, I'm waiting for people to try to pull his statue down in Comerica Park. But
it's coming.
But let's be honest here. That means that the home run record to a lot of people is still Maris's for the single season. And Stanton actually has a chance of beating it. So let me ask you, having said what I just said, if Stanton beats Maris's number this season, do you consider him the single season home run record holder without the asterisk?
Well, I say it's the new sports climate we're in. Let's see what the urine test says.
Well, no, I mean, if he goes the rest of his career and there's never even a sniff, a whiff, anything of PEDs, and he hits 63, do you consider him the only person to pass Maris that doesn't have an asterisk by his name?
At 63 is the number to match?
No, well, Maris was 61.
Well, yeah, but I mean that's what.
No, it's 73 would have to be. I think it's 73. I think Bonds was 73 homers.
I mean, so I'm conflicted on that question. I mean, you're definitely you're in the club, you're in the Hall of Fame. I mean, that's what gets you in. But I mean, if he hits 74, this situation is just much easier. But I guess you wouldn't be asking me the question then.
I mean, dude, 22 games roughly left. He's sitting at 51. I mean, dude, that's 23 home runs, and he has to average a home run better than a home run a game. I don't think that's happening. I think him breaking Maris's record could happen, and I think that there is definitely a sizable portion of baseball fans that will look at him as the legit single season home run record holder.
The purists.
Definitely. I mean, this isn't me just me bringing this up. I mean, this has been brought up. The Washington Post has an article about it. They asked Dusty Baker about it. Dusty Baker said, isn't 73 the record? I was there when he hit 73, so that's the record to me. Don Mattingly, who's Stanton's manager, said flat out, then we're into guessing and confusing. The record is, I don't even know what the record is. Whatever the record is, the record is. Everyone else can figure out which one they think is legit or not. And these are two people in baseball who have, in my opinion, carry significant weight. These aren't a bunch of light ass fucking rookies saying this shit. This is Dusty Baker and fucking Don Mattingly. I mean, there's that part of my brain that comes in with the hey, if you ain't first, you're last. The whole no participation trophies kind of part of my brain. It's like, if you didn't beat it, you didn't beat it. It's while Bonds holds it. I mean, it's always going to be tainted. But I mean, the record's a record, isn't it? I mean, this goes back to the conversation we've had before a few times on this show. In my opinion, the only way for baseball to save face is to name the post-strike till probably 2005, 2006, the steroid era, and acknowledge it in the Baseball Hall of Fame, acknowledge it in the record books, acknowledge it in the history books, and move the fuck on.
I mean, I guess, too, if you're going to say that Babe Ruth is allowed to be a record holder when he was only playing against a bunch of white guys, I mean, then I guess you have to say that Barry Bonds does hold the record.
Well, and I mean, there's believe it or not, I've heard this argument brought up, not very often, but there's people that say, well, why the fuck should Babe Ruth even be considered to have the record? He didn't play during the dead ball era. He didn't play when hitting a home run was, at one point when 10, 11 home runs was the record for the fucking single season. They juiced the ball, and then all of a sudden he's hitting home runs and it's putting asses in the seats. Major League Baseball knew what they were doing when they fucking got rid of the dead ball. I mean, so at this point, how far back do we want to go in history, and how much of history do we want to cherry pick to try to make a point? I mean, to me...
Yeah, where's the line?
You have the dead ball era. It's called the dead ball era, right? Then you have where Babe Ruth hit his home runs. Just like... They changed the pitching mound, and they started making it harder for pitchers after the 68 season because you had guys going out there putting up numbers that are fucking ungodly that'll probably never, ever again be matched. I mean, if I'm no baseball historian, but if I'm correct, I think Bob Gibson finished the 68 season with a sub 1.5 fucking ERA. I mean, that is, and this is a starting pitcher in the 60s where they didn't pull you after 100 pitches. You know, Denny McLain won 20 games in 68. I mean, there's, you know, baseball saw the writing on the wall and said, wait a minute, pitching is nice. And there is a segment of our fans that like it, but we need to get asses in the seats. And what's going to get asses in the seats is more runs. So they took the advantage away from the pitcher after that year, right? Then you had the free agency era, which I would call basically around that time, 69, 70, even though I think it was 72 when Curt Flood really, no pun intended, opened the floodgates on free agency up to the strike where we lost that season. And then you have the steroid era. And we're in the post-steroid era at this point. I don't see why you can't just put it that way in the history books, put it that way in the Hall of Fame, and acknowledge, yeah, you know what? We did some fucked up shit because we wanted to keep asses in the seats, especially after we lost an entire season, because no one was giving a fuck about baseball after that.
Yeah, I think we hit on it last week, till McGuire versus Sosa, baseball was still recovering from that strike in the mid-'90s.
Exactly. Even with Cal Ripken's Iron Man streak, that still wasn't enough to get America to fucking tune into baseball. For people who don't remember or are too young or weren't around, they broke into ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, UPN. Okay, they broke into their programming to show every at-bat of Mark McGwire when he was chasing that record. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's how big it was. Everybody fucking wanted to see him break that record. I mean, it was nuts. My grandmother walked around with a Mark McGwire home run record t-shirt. You know? And she was a diehard Tigers fan, so see her wearing a t-shirt with a player in the fucking, you know, Cardinals, I'm like, I thought you hated the Cardinals. She's like, yeah, but I like Mark McGwire. He broke the record. I like Sammy Sosa too, but he didn't. But, you know, case in point, when Bonds did it, she didn't give a fuck. A whole lot of people that cared about when McGwire and Sosa were chasing it didn't give a fuck. It's because we knew it was tainted at that point. The shine had come off. So,
with his big ass head, bro, I got your rookie card, homie. All right, used to be tiny.
Yeah, big time.
But both him and McGwire. Like, I remember seeing Mark McGwire in 1989 at Tiger Stadium versus Mark McGwire in 1999. Looks like two different dudes.
No doubt, man. And I mean, don't get me wrong, McGwire always had, I mean, he's a bigger dude, but he wasn't that big. I mean, if you've ever seen Miggy in person up close, Miguel Cabrera is a large motherfucking human being. I mean, even if it wasn't muscle, it was just like, you know, country muscle, not that defined workout muscle shit. You'd be like, that's a big biscuit-eating, 2-liter drinking motherfucker right there.
Yeah.
That's a big boy. I mean, so you look at a guy his size, and it makes sense. You look at Mark McGwire's rookie card from Topps for the 84 Olympic team, and his neck was about 10 sizes fucking smaller than it was 15 years later.
He's a beanpole-looking motherfucker. And then all of a sudden, he's looking like a linebacker from, Nebraska.
Exactly. You know, at best during his true rookie season with the A's, I guess you could say he had like a Kurt Gibson type body, bigger dude, but it wasn't like super duper pumped up workout big. You could just tell he had some strength to him because, I mean, he did hit 49 home runs as a rookie, you know, and I don't even know if that's tainted because the timeline gets fucked up on that, even according to people that were on the A's with him at that point. And I mean, Jose Canseco is not exactly the most reliable narrator we have.
Huh.
So, I mean, he turned out a lot of what he said is true, but he's also said a lot of bullshit. So it's like, you know, you kind of take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have
facts of life,
pretty much. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's interesting, and if he does break it, I mean, part of me does say, yeah, he is the fucking legit single season home run king. He's there until there is enough smoke to where I'm like, there's got to be fire. He didn't hit 74 home runs, but he also doesn't have an asterisk next to his name. So That's just how I feel. Just wondering if you had a take on it. But
I guess I kind of fished it out.
No. That's the whole reason I brought it up. Yeah, but yeah, I was just saying, I'm sure if Iceman was here, he'd be like, "Fuck yeah, he is," because the rest of the fuckers should be fucking shot and killed and dig up their dead grannies and sodomize the bitch, and because apparently doing steroids is the worst thing you can do with Iceman around. So,
but what else we got?
We got the trade, but maybe not. But maybe so, but maybe not.
Oh yeah, Isaiah Thomas being the trainer. They're evaluating him further with his hip. May not go through.
To the point where he came out and released it, or at least said to someone in the press.
He said he's not damaged.
Yes, which is an interesting choice of words. Because damaged is like... That's what I think of when I buy something and I get it home and the box is all fucked up and ripped open. Like, this is damaged goods.
Damage doesn't go to the Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, that would be I'll return from my hip injury and be the same player. Oh, he is currently injured.
Well, I mean, what's going on here? Basically, if they decide that he is damaged goods, that what? They're going to want more? And if you're the Celtics, are you going to even offer up any more than you already have? I mean, they gave up a total of 3 players and a draft pick. I mean, so it's really how much is Kyrie Irving really fucking worth?
I know. Is he worth all this? I don't know. Cleveland and Boston officials started to engage each other on a solution Tuesday, the league sources told ESPN. The Cavs are no longer seeking one of the Celtics' top young players, but they are still determined to land one of Boston's first-round picks as compensation, and the conversation has included second-round considerations too, league sources said. The deadline to submit to a physical for the players involved in the trade is 10 a.m. Eastern time on Wednesday. And deadline to pass physical is 10 a.m. Eastern Thursday. Come on.
Well, I mean, the article I have says, what more do the Cavaliers want? It says, Celtics have a treasure chest full of assets, and the Cavs know it. There's no other reason Cleveland would agree to trade their 25-year-old all-star point guard to the only team that could even win a single playoff game against them in the East playoffs. The return of Thomas, Jay Crowder, and Ante-Zizic to the Brooklyn Nets unprotected 2018 first-round pick was too bountiful to reject. At least that's what they thought. Now Cleveland is going to try to inquire about a couple of the Celtics' young players, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, who they tried to get in the original trade. That is very unlikely, but Boston still has a war chest of future first-round picks of their own and some picks they control from other teams, and Cleveland is going to try to get one or more of those to finalize this deal. Look, I know Kyrie don't want on the fucking Cleveland's or on the Cavs anymore. I know he doesn't want to play with LeBron anymore. If I'm Boston, I'm looking at him and saying, that's my final offer. You take it and you assume the risk or send them back to us. Either way, you ain't going to have LeBron in a year and we're going to be running over your fucking team.
Yeah, because the article I'm reading here says since the physical last Friday, Cleveland has now shifted into, well, we want more because you undersold the injury to us. That is the stance Cleveland is taking.
And I'm telling you, if I am Boston, I'm going take it or leave it.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm walking in there with my dick in my hand, feeling myself way too much, going take it or leave it right now. In fact, you got to the count of 5. 1, 4. You know what I'm saying? Fuck you. Because if not, we'll take them back. We'll keep all our draft picks. And when LeBron says bye-bye to you bitches, we'll enjoy butt-fucking you on the way to the fucking finals against Golden State. Because you bitches probably ain't even making it out of the first or second round. If you make the playoffs, have a nice fucking career. Or have a nice franchise. That's the end of it. I mean, Boston needs to get gangster with this shit, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Kyrie look, Kyrie doesn't want to be there. He's going to be an issue. So that makes Cleveland a motivated seller. When you're looking to sell something and the buyer fucking makes you an offer and you come back and go, no, I want more. That buyer, if they're intelligent, is going to look at you and go, well, then you ain't that motivated to get rid of him. Enjoy having that clusterfuck in your clubhouse for an entire season.
Yeah, enjoy the cancer in your locker room, because that's what it'll be.
And I think this proves it right here that Cleveland is not going to give him up for a fucking song. They're not going to trade him to like the Pistons for a fucking, bunch of draft picks and a fucking, bag of fucking basketballs.
Something to think about, though, Cleveland. Just saying. You know, we're putting it out there.
I mean, I don't know. I didn't like the trade for Boston in the first place. I don't think Kyrie Irving's all that. Sorry, I just don't. What did he win before LeBron was there? You know, not much. He's already proven that he'll let pettiness in the clubhouse affect how he views being on a team. To me, that's an issue.
Yeah, but you could argue he's learned behavior from LeBron. Oh, don't like the coach? Bitch about it. Oh, need some help? Bitch about it. And Kyrie just probably went, oh, yeah, I don't want to be here anymore? I'll bitch about it. So, I don't know. I think, talked about last week, too, I think it speaks more to the management in Cleveland right now than anything else. You let the inmates run the asylum. You need new management in the front office. Dan Gilbert.
Yes, because there is a difference between letting your stars have a voice that the coach and the general manager will listen to, and letting your star dictate to your coach and your general manager. I mean, there is a difference. I mean, a good officer will always ask his senior NCO's opinion. It doesn't mean he's going to do what his senior NCO said he should do, but he'll take it under consideration. And a really good officer who knows how to play the game will ask his senior NCO's opinion even after he's already made up his mind of what he's going to do. Because sometimes the illusion of we care about your opinion is just as good as actually caring about someone's opinion.
Yeah. Again, I don't disagree with you there. It at least shows that you're weighing it. But I mean, too. But isn't there going to be change in the front office? Like, wasn't one of the first things we talked about after the NBA season wrapped up was the manager, the GM got blown out.
Yeah, then it was going to be Chauncey, and then it wasn't. And as far as I know, that's still a clusterfuck there. Mm-hmm. You know, I haven't heard anything concrete about what they're going to do or not going to do.
Yeah.
And Dan Gilbert, I don't even know what to say about Dan Gilbert. As an owner, I don't know. I have a tough time throwing my support behind an owner who's going to let his star player dictate to him, Freudian slip, dictate to him who's going to be the coach, who's going to be the GM, especially when that star player hasn't committed to a long-term or hasn't made a long-term commitment to that team. Mm-hmm. You want me to fucking build a team around you the way you want it? You want to have that much say-so? Then you fucking prove to me you're going to retire a Cavalier.
Well, he's already dicked you over in the past. And you could see it coming again.
Oh, definitely. I mean, that's the other thing. You know, fucking Stevie Wonder could see it coming this time again. Yeah. That's why I said if I'm Boston, I'm walking in there just fucking all types of cocky. Yeah. I mean, I'm walking in there like, fuck your gay-ass uniforms, fuck your stupid-ass colors, fuck your shitty-ass city. My president's black and my Lambo's blue, bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just getting gangster with it. Fuck them. What are they going to do? Oh, we're taking Kyrie Irving back. Okay. And?
Cool. We'll be here with this guy you wanted.
And all these draft picks. And all these players that you wanted. Because you knew you were going to have to rebuild after this season anyways. And by the way, we ain't even looking to rebuild. And we took you to the fucking... And we met you in the conference championships. So... as you're on your way down, make sure to wave to us because we'll wave to you as we're passing you on our way up. It's just Cleveland. What's the worst that happens? Cleveland gets fucking Thomas and they lose him for what, half a season? Are they that worried that LeBron can't carry that team and keep that team in playoff contention until he comes back from an injury?
Maybe, because maybe that's why they upped the whole. Hey, we want more since we're gonna not have this guy for the entire season.
Well, I hate to channel my inner Iceman, but if LeBron gets a wild hair up his ass and says fuck it halfway through the season, I guess he could fucking pretty much make it damn near impossible for him to crawl into the playoffs if he goes out there and plays like he doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, but by the time this show posts, this whole thing will be over. So we'll know next week if this all goes down or not. Just it probably just ends up as just 2 weeks to talk about basketball. Get it back in the news. Hey, NFL training camp started. Let's throw this out there. Don't keep talking about basketball.
What's sad is I think we've talked more basketball in the last 2 weeks than we did, except for during the finals.
True. Although I remember us having a conversation, the Charles Oakley situation.
Yeah.
We did seem to bag on LeBron once a week somehow.
Well, I think that was one of our co-hosts more so than us, but whatever. I guess we all have to take the collective hit on that one.
All right, so do we shift into football now? Or is it, what else?
I mean, that's pretty much all there is to it. I mean, there's not much more to discuss until we get to the picks. And I mean, I think the biggest story of the last week is Edelman's out.
Edelman, Cameron Meredith, Spencer Ware. Oh, man. Chris Hogan shooting up draft boards out there. By the way, still a couple spots in the Sport G Fantasy Football League. We'll be drafting on Sunday. All right? But by the time Sunday morning rolls around, it is what it is. If we got 9 teams, good. We got 10 teams, good. We got 11 teams, great. But 3 more spots left. Hit up our social media. Click through the link. Sign up for that shits. I can't wait to eviscerate the Iceman. Oh, man. Dude, I had my first draft yesterday. I won that motherfucking draft. Dude, you look at all our projected points. I have the most projected points for week 1. A little guy named Tom is my quarterback.
All right, calm down.
Yeah, football. Oh, football.
But no, I think 2 things about the Edelman injury. One, I don't think this affects New England's chances of another championship whatsoever.
Nope.
New England has proven for going on 2 decades to be the ultimate plug-and-play franchise.
We also got to remember, too, this was probably the year where the bloom comes off the rose for Julian Edelman, because we keep forgetting, or maybe not, but lest we forget, Brandon Cooks is now a New England Patriot. I mean, I don't try to always tie everything back to fantasy, but I guess in this case I am. I was an owner of Brandon Cooks last year. That guy got away for one big play every week. That guy got deep for at least for a 50-yard plus, it seemed almost every week. And now that was when Drew Brees was throwing to him. Now you have Tom Brady throwing to him. You had the Saints with the shadow of their former defense. I mean, let's be honest. The New Orleans Saints defense, this ain't 2007, all right? This is 2017. They're not what they were when Bountygate was going on. And with that defense, still, Brandon Cooks was a machine last year, and now he has the fucking goddamn GOAT throwing to him. So I think Edelman's stock was on its way down this year anyways. I mean, it was a nice 1-2 punch, I'll tell you, with Cooks and Edelman. But
however, I will say this. This also gives the Patriots something they seem to thrive on, which is let's go win one for Julian. Mm-hmm. That's it. Wherever they can find the littlest thing to hang their hat on, this is our motto this season. This is why we're doing this. You know, I've heard quotes from players, oh, he's still going to be here. He's going to still be on the sidelines. He's still going to be in the meetings. He's still going to be at the facility, et cetera, et cetera. And to me, they're almost looking at him like a mascot. Like, all right, let's, fuck the Gipper. Let's go win one for Edelman. So, I mean, AFC East, shit. Don't get any thoughts that you're gonna somehow fucking bump the Patriots out of the top spot. It's just not happening.
No, and two, I mean, the Jets, who's, I believe their starter was announced today, and I think it's a McCown.
Yeah, Mr. I don't look at porn anymore because Jesus said not to. Josh McCown.
The Dolphins, Jay Cutler, no thanks. The Bills, I mean, dude, New England is just gonna. I mean, Lions fans, we had a preview of it.
Yeah, that preseason. Week. Okay, and let me just say this. That's an example of a team who comes out with a game plan and executes versus a team that's still trying to figure out who the fuck they are.
Yeah.
That is the varsity squad coming out against the Pee Wee football team and embarrassing them. It was, 21-0 in the first half?
Yeah, and then once the starter sat down, the Lions fans, we almost won. Yeah, against guys that are never going to play in regular season unless Tom Brady gets hit by a bus. And everyone on the starting offensive line is on that bus with him.
People forget this is a team that won 11 games without Brady, all right? Now, granted, if they were to lose Tom Brady, that'd be just a massive blow to them. But this is, once again, the ultimate plug-and-play fucking team. And I think in sports history, maybe like the run the Yankees had, where, I mean, it was just insane. I mean, it went Ruth and Gehrig and then Mantle. And, I mean, just like that was an insane run. But it's a completely different sport. And it was a completely different culture back then. There was no free agency. There wasn't guys leaving to go sign the big contracts after they get their championship. There wasn't guys willing to come for less money to win a championship. I mean, it pains me to say this because I used to say this for so long. But sometime around the late 2000s, I started saying, I can't say it anymore. I used to say the Red Wings are, at least in my lifetime, the best run sports franchise I've ever seen. Can't say it anymore.
No, New England, man.
By fucking far at this point. And because it's harder to do in football. And they do it every year.
I mean, they're 4 years away. I mean, from being in like 2 decades worth of winning, like of just constantly being in the playoffs. Yeah, you haven't won. You haven't won every Super Bowl every year, but you're 2 away from matching Pittsburgh, title town.
And if you really want to get down to it, their run started the '96 season because they went to the Super Bowl. Yes, they lost, but they went to the Super Bowl in January of '97.
So then we're already on 2 decades of winning.
So I mean.
Think Tom Brady sends Drew Bledsoe a monthly stipend? Hey, thanks.
If Tom Brady's any type of man of any type of honor, he makes Giselle call him fucking Drew Bledsoe at least a couple times a year while he's fucking her. That's the only thing I can.
Call me Drew. Call me Drew.
I mean, it's just, or he calls Bledsoe over and lets him sniff his fingers every once in a while. Something.
Once a year at Christmas sends him a check for $50,000. Like, hey, thanks.
I mean, yeah, and that pretty much put an end to the argument that injury will not lose you your position, your starting position. Yeah, that stereotype's pretty much gone away.
Well, yeah, like last year in Dallas.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
How many weeks was Tony Romo going to be their guy until they got to like 5-0 and Uncle Jerry went, oh, hey, wait a minute. Once they got to 5-0, 6-0, Uncle Jerry turned into, we're going to wait and see who gives us the best chance to win coming out of.
Yeah. Uncle Jerry figured out that all of a sudden he had Native American blood in him. He was part of the wait and see tribe.
Yeah. And yeah, it worked out. I mean. This year, look out for that team, by the way. Dallas. My argument last year was inexperience. Dak's been there. He's lost. So is Zeke. You just wait and see. Although they only get half a season with Zeke. So good luck with Darren McFadden.
Well, I mean, we don't know. He is appealing the 6 games.
That is true.
And I mean, he's not going to go. It's not going to be one game.
Hey, he was not on my draft board this year. Like, man, fantasy season's 13 weeks. Pretty much telling me you'll be gone 2/3 of the season. Sorry.
Yeah.
No thanks.
I mean, that's what I'm getting at. They're not going to reduce his suspension to 1 game, but I could see maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah, at least missing a month.
I mean, we've already covered this territory. Personally, I think 1 game's too fucking many. What are you suspending him for? Allegations and rumors? Because that's it. You have nothing legally on the man. But whatever, we've already covered that. It is what it is in the NFL. So, I mean, if they cut it down to 3 games, I think Dallas has to look at that as like the NFL took mercy on them. Mm-hmm. Now, what doesn't hold well for Dallas is they went and got the same lawyer that represented New England during Deflategate, and Tom Brady got 4 games.
And Dallas isn't New England either. I mean. What was it? The year that Seattle, the last 2 New England championships. Brought this up before. They went their first month without Tom Brady. the one where Pete Carroll handed the Patriots the championship. Mm-hmm. That whole first month of that season, Tom was injured. And I remember that the retirement talk was starting. Oh, will he be the same player? Is this it for Tom Brady? Will Jimmy Garoppolo be taking over for him? And then, bam, end of the season, Super Bowl champions. This year again, serving 4 fucking games from that Super Bowl, mind you, from the AFC Championship game to get into that previous Super Bowl where they won. And he still win. My whole point of all of that is Dallas isn't that team. So even if he gets 3 or 4 games, I mean, at this point, if you're a Dallas fan, the best you can hope for is 2-2. Because I think Zeke was a big part of your success last year. But we were talking about Julian Edelman's injury. But, I mean, we covered it, right? I mean, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, they're going to...
Tom Brady always finds a white boy to make a star.
Tom Brady giving white boys hope they can play wide receiver in the NFL since 2001.
This year it'll be Chris Hogan.
No, I mean, pretty much the way I look at it is, whereas with teams like Tampa and U of M, until they can show me that they can take that next step, I'm not going to assume they're going to do it. It's the opposite. Until New England proves that they're capable of stumbling bad enough to fuck themselves over, I'm never going to assume that's what they're going to do. I'm always going to give them the benefit of the doubt at this point.
When is the last time the New England Patriots had a losing record? 1990-something?
I want to say you're right, yeah. I mean, it has to be, man. I don't think they've had a losing record with fucking Brady at the helm. I think their last, maybe 2000, maybe. That was their last losing season.
There you go. With their good old Wikipedia. All right. Let's see here. So far, the worst they've done. Oh, yep. Bam. Wow, Rich. Need to get you on Stump the Schwab, man. 2000, they went 5-11.
Yeah.
And the worst they've been since then, in 2002, they were 9-7. I mean, 2005 and 11, 2001, 11 and 5, 2002, 9 and 7, 2003, 14 and 2, 2004, 14 and 2, 2005, 10 and 6, 2006, 12 and 4, 2007, 16 and 0, 2008, 11 and 5, 2009, 10 and 6, 2010, 14 and 2, 13 and 3, 12 and 4, 12 and 4, 12 and 4, 12-4, and then 14 and 2 last year. The same record that the Detroit Lions will have at the end of this season, according to the Iceman.
He's never going to live that down.
Dude,
man.
You picked the Lions 14 and 2, and we have digital proof.
Oh, Christ.
All right, so any more on the Pats? I mean, we sucked their dick enough during the season. Just start right at the beginning with a light tickling of the balls. It's like they'll be fine without Edelman.
Yeah, there's nothing really more to say at this point. You know what? There is something I wanted to cover. I'm firmly in the camp. We need to get rid of 2 fucking preseason games and add them to the regular season. This is okay. I understand that there's no predicting when an injury can happen in football because, I mean, major injuries can happen in practice. I understand that. But if you're going to put your players out there and take the risk, at least increase the number of games where it matters. And I don't know. I don't want to fucking watch guys. I want to watch the best players possible out there when the regular season starts. I don't want to hear, so-and-so's done for the season, so-and-so is gone for 9 games, so-and-so is gone for this because of, a goofy play in the 3rd or 4th game of the preseason that doesn't mean shit.
As much as I love football, I have zero interest in the preseason. Like even this Sunday, the wife went to work. She picked up a shift on Sunday. I had Sunday night to myself. I flipped on the NFL Network. It was a preseason game between Cincinnati and Washington. And it was in like the 3rd quarter. So I mean, fuck the A or the B team. We're seeing like the C and the D team. I'm like, I turned it off. I also said, also in the regular season, this is a shitty matchup, anyways. But it wasn't. I had no interest, none, watching it. It made it like 30 whole seconds. Then I moved on.
And I really think tinfoil hat time. It has to be the owners because I don't believe the players get paid during the preseason.
Oh, we'd have to pay them for 2 more games. It's cheapness.
But, I mean, all you're doing is spreading their contract out for another 2 games. They only get paid on weeks they play. So, I mean, in the regular season. That's when they're – so is it – do they pull – I mean, come on. Are they really pulling in that much fucking money? Wouldn't they pull in even more money for one home game?
Yeah, come on, NFL. Aren't you greedy? Let's make some more money. Let's give us 2 more weeks of football to watch. To extend that fantasy season 2 more weeks, NFL. Come on, doesn't Uncle Jerry own a piece of all those, isn't Jerry Jones and Robert Kraft, don't they each own a piece of like FanDuel and DraftKings and all that crap?
I don't know, do they?
I believe they do, but...
Well, I mean, shit, if that's the case. Surprised it ain't happened already.
Yeah. So shall we make our first picks of the season?
Yeah.
I mean, it's only 2.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, you got MSU and U of M.
Yes.
So, who's MSU playing?
Florida.
MSU's playing Florida?
Oh, MSU, no, that's U of M. Where are we going?
We'll let little brother go first. Go ahead.
Oh, MSU's playing Bowling Green. I mean, that's...
You gonna be mad if I pick Bowling Green?
No, you are a full-grown man who's allowed to pick who you want to pick. But I'm going with MSU.
Yeah, of course, I'm going with MSU.
And
come on now.
Iceman will fill us in on his picks later. I did reach out to him to let us know who he would like this weekend. And then Michigan's playing Florida. I mean, yeah. Well, too, and Florida just lost. Did they have a whole bunch of players suspended?
Like 7?
Yeah.
And then they lost another 2. I don't know if it's to injury or not, but...
So, it should be a good weekend for the college teams. This is the first year I'm actually kind of juiced for college football. Maybe it's just because I've been doing this podcast for a minute, but I don't know. I'm actually excited about this weekend. Like, oh, shit.
Well, I'm going to say this. You didn't say who you're going to pick, so you going with U of M?
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
Got more faith than I do. I'm going Florida.
Wow, you're still, it's they're in the...
It's a neutral site. I don't care that U of M's ranked higher. I don't care that they're coming out in their gay and blue uniforms. Or they're all gays uniforms or whatever. Maize. Them shits are fucking ugly. That's all I know.
Gays in blue.
I don't know, man. I do not have a good feeling about this year. There's no hype, dude. There's no hype about that team outside of Harbaugh.
How about Michigan State? I know they had a shitty year last year, but they can't even get thrown in at 25. Like, not even ranked. And Michigan gets 11. What the fuck is that? I mean, we talked about it last year. We talked about it all the time. That Block M gets you a little higher in the preseason than you should be. But I don't know, I think State got snubbed. I think the condition that D'Antonio has that program in is not worth not being ranked just because you had one shitty year. Fuck. The Rich Rod years, Michigan was getting ranked preseason every fucking year. And they were never worth any of those rankings that year. Years.
That was completely ridiculous.
Like, you're telling me one bad season for State and that's it? They're no longer relevant? To quote you, sir, get the fuck out of my face. It's worth at least 25. You know, you be 21 through 25. You be down there. But to say we're not even in the conversation, come on, man.
Yeah, I do not have a good feeling about this season. I hope I'm wrong. I honestly, I really do. I just, like I said, I'm not there. The talk should be about how good of a team Michigan's putting on the field this year. And all the talk is Harbaugh going to run over everybody this year? And I mean, maybe I'm wrong in my assumption, but maybe that will help those players because it kind of takes the pressure off of them. But if I was a player, I'd be like, wait a minute, this motherfucker ain't out here throwing passes and catching passes and throwing blocks.
Exactly what I was going to say. Like, he ain't playing.
Yeah. I mean, so what the fuck? Why is all this talk about him? Look, Michigan wants him to be Bo Schembechler Part 2 very bad. I mean, very badly. And, I mean, they want that iconic coach that they can put a fucking statue up, of in 25 years. I get that. But I'm just not buying it, man. I'm not. The Jesus and khakis bit has gotten old, and to be honest with you, I don't even see him here in 3 years.
Damn. You're calling it.
I mean, I just...
You icing it?
I mean, it's just a gut feeling. I'm basing it off of nothing more than his history. He has a bad habit of burning himself out wherever he goes. He wears out his welcome easily. He's not an easy person to get along with. He's not an easy person to deal with. He's got, so many idiosyncrasies, it's not even funny. And when you're winning, those are tolerated. When you're losing, those are excuses to get rid of you. When you're a 40 fucking degree day who can't beat you, or can't beat Ohio, can't beat Wisconsin, can't win the Big Ten, you're going into your 5th year and you've never even been in the playoffs, that gets old quickly. And that's when you start looking for, okay, what coach is looking for a new place to go? Because it's not that this is not working, it's just not working as well as we thought it would be. Thank you for lifting us up above the Rich Rod and Brady Hoke years and giving us back at least, 1 star.
Bring the swagger back to Ann Arbor.
Yeah, but you got to go, dude. You can't get over that hump. And I mean, that's not to say he won't go on and coach a fucking team and go down in history as one of the greatest, college football coaches, period, whatever. I don't know. I mean, but I have the same feeling about Harbaugh as a coach as I felt about Dungy as a coach in Tampa Bay. Dungy gave Tampa Bay respectability, but Dungy can never get him over the hump.
Well, I mean, with Harbaugh, this is, if someone was a freshman when you took over, they are a senior this year. This is the first year where it's like all your dudes, pretty much. You have washed out any Brady Hoke out of the system. I mean, it is now officially people that have been nothing but under your tutelage. So this is a bigger year for him than I think people think.
Oh, big time. I mean, this is his 3rd season as head coach.
Yeah, and you haven't beat Ohio State yet.
You are 500, granted, in 2 seasons, but still, you're 500 against MSU. Mm-hmm. You've never sniffed a Big Ten championship. You haven't sniffed the playoffs, all right? You have to do all those things this year. And I just don't see it happening, man. I mean, I can't even name you this season's version of Jabril Peppers. Mm-hmm. The guy who it's like, this is the guy you got to watch on this team. I can't do it. There's just no hype, man.
Yeah, that's right. He's not here this year. Ooh.
Every fucking article is Harbaugh. That's fucking fine. I get that. He's a cult of personality. I understand that. In today's day and age in America, we love that shit. We eat it up. We elect it president. Problem is, once again, I'm repeating myself, but it's true. He ain't on the field. He ain't playing. So what the fuck good does all this hype do? I mean, I hope I'm wrong. If they beat Florida and they beat MSU, I might have a little bit of confidence going into the U of M game, Ohio State game. But I mean, that's a long ways away. They got to get through Florida first, and I'm not too convinced they're not going to get tripped up by a team that no one thinks it has a chance to beat them. I think that Appalachian State shit they're ripe for it this year. So,
my one hang up with Florida is they're from the part of the country where most of the pro players come from. They're from one of those conferences.
Well, first of all, the SEC might as well be the minor leagues for the NFL. And I'm not just saying that as far as players and percentage of players that go on to the NFL. I'm talking about the money that changes hands and ends up in players' back pockets in that fucking conference. All right. It's not a level playing field there. It's just not. And Yeah, it's not the same Florida it was 10 years ago. But those teams Tigers don't change their stripes, man. You know, I mean, there's an old saying in the NCAA when it comes to football. You know, USC gets caught in 4 violations, and North Carolina State loses 10 scholarships. Mm-hmm. That type of thing. I mean, you know, there's the teams that blatantly get away with cheating until they get greedy. We're talking SMU, the U, USC, Ohio State to a certain extent. You know, until they get just so blatant with it that they have to be punished. And then there's the teams that kind of straddle the rules who the NCAA comes down hard on. That way they can look like, yeah, we're tough on people who do this shit. We mean this shit. And there's the teams that no one gives a fuck about. When's the last time Army or Navy was investigated? You know what I'm saying? When's the last time Western was investigated? No one gives a fuck about these teams. You know, Central, the NCAA isn't breathing down Central Michigan's neck. All right. So it's just, you partner that with the fact that I think I really hope I'm wrong, but to me, I just think that Harbaugh, the focus is on him, and he's loving it, and he knows it, and he thrives on it. And I think that's going to be a problem this season. Because I don't think he can remove his ego from that and do what needs to be done with the team to get them to win. And that's, I know we weren't on the air when they hired him, but that was my concern when they hired him. You're not just hiring him, you're hiring a pretty big fucking ego too.
You're hiring the Harbaugh brand.
I mean, he's a college football coach who runs around with his shirt off almost as much as Matthew McConaughey.
Hey, remember in his first season when he saved somebody from a car accident or some shit?
Yeah, all that shit, you know, it was a rumor. I don't know if it was ever proven to be true or false, but, you know, supposedly climbed up in a tree and talked to a potential recruit through his bedroom window, spent the night over at a recruit's house, did a sleepover. What are you, Michael Jackson? Get the fuck out of here, man.
Went up in a hot air balloon at dawn. We have the footage.
And then Kieran and Macaulay get in the bed, and we have milk and cookies.
We were just talking about that in the Wiesman. We were making note that he says Kieran and Macaulay Culkin and their sister knows the boys' names, doesn't know the girl's name.
Well, of course. I mean, think about it. Look at it this way: if you go to the bar and you meet 3 girls, you only remember the name of the chick you fucked.
Yeah, I know, right?
The other 2 are just her friends.
Some gross girl. I called her the cock blocker. She was there too.
It's ignorant. It's ignorant. No, don't be ignorant. But yeah, man, that's just my feeling. And I don't know, man. If they win and they win decisively, I'll see how I feel next week. But at this point, I'm not saying it's going to be a blowout. I'm not saying Florida's going to go in there and just fucking get neck deep in their ass. But I think it's going to be a reality check for that team. And here's the bitch of it. They could conceivably lose to Florida, get humbled quickly, right the ship, run the table, and end up with a Big Ten championship and in the playoffs at the end of the season.
Well, I was looking over the schedules with Mikey B from World Championship Radio and the Wiesman Podcast, here at ChristopherMedia.net. And State's got an easier schedule this year. State should have no excuses. Michigan's got, I believe they have a tougher schedule than State does this year. Or maybe it's vice versa. But, God damn it. One of them's got an easier road. I really think it's State. See, I click fucking ESPN. I click on their little thing for their game and it takes me to something to sell me fucking tickets. I don't want to buy tickets. I want to look at a schedule. Yeah, all right, so that Bowling Green, Western, Notre Dame, Iowa, Michigan, Minnesota, Indiana, Northwestern, Penn State, OSU, Maryland, and Rutgers. That's Michigan State.
Yeah, Michigan has Florida, Cincinnati, Air Force, Purdue, then State, Indiana, Penn State, Rutgers, Minnesota, Maryland, Wisconsin, Ohio State.
Yeah, no, that's correction. Michigan has it much easier.
That Wisconsin-Ohio State back-to-back at the end of the season, though, that's a hell of a 1-2 punch. Because if they go in shaky at all, they can easily lose both those games and just tank their season, even if they've ran the table to that point.
Well, I mean, State has theirs in the form of, they got Penn State and Ohio State. I mean, it wasn't Penn State. Weren't they division champs weren't they fighting it out, I should say, for division champs last year?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, I mean, well, yeah, we'll see. I mean, Indiana isn't even ranked. Neither Maryland and Rutgers. I mean, Iowa's not ranked, but Iowa can always be a motherfucker for both teams. Those cornbread motherfuckers. Not bread as in B-R-A-D, as in B-R-E-D. Like, you eat the same shit as the horses because we want you just as strong. That kind of shit.
Well, I mean, let's see. Yeah, I mean, you got Penn State. I mean, you got to have Deadspin talking big shit, talking about Penn State's going to rule. And, you know, I mean, I don't know, man. I believe they won the Big Ten last year.
Mm-hmm.
So, let me see. It's amazing how much I forget in 1 year. Yeah, 2016, they sure did. They sure did. So, you know, I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting.
I love how our college football preview is 2 teams.
Dude, there's what, 120, 130 teams? You think we're going to go through every fucking team? If we were going to go just through the top 25 every week, it'd have to be its own show.
Yeah, we have 3 hours just for that.
And I mean, like, dude, I might have one more podcast a week in me, but I mean, it can't be covering the same ground I cover in the other 2.
Dude, it's college.
Yeah, exactly. And once again, I'm not these guys who can pull crazy stats out of their head and know the history of what happened in 1891 with Penn State versus fucking U of M and all this shit or whatever. So there's guys out there doing podcasts that can do that. I'm not trying to creep on their fucking shit, you know?
We are not those guys. I think
no.
Episode 1, we make that very apparent.
Half-ass sports fans giving half-ass sports opinion.
Well, just too, if you're looking for the X's and O's, man, it ain't happening here.
No.
Maybe to an extent.
I mean, closest we have, honestly, would be, and it's happened a few times, a handful of times over the 60-whatever episodes, Iceman going off and start breaking down, like, certain plays and shit of certain games to prove a point. He's done it a handful of times.
You're giving us breaking news. It's not breaking news.
Oh, he loves that, yeah. So, but all right.
I can't wait to get a full season out of that motherfucker this year. Like, let's see. He's got to retain his Iceman. Oh, that chap his ass. If we make the Iceman title rotating.
I don't want that shit, even if I call every game.
The winner of the picks this year gets you get to be the Iceman.
Here's the thing. He doesn't understand. That was not a compliment.
I know.
That was sarcastically, because he just ran around going, I call everything. Because even if he doesn't call it, he's going to get in your face and go, I called it. I call everything. You don't. But I say I do. Oh, I guess that makes it better. Okay.
All right, Donnie.
You're out of your element.
I was talking more Donnie John.
No, I know. Trying to keep it non-political.
Well, yeah. Next week. Oh man, next week we'll be picking week 1. Oh God, I'll be traveling again on week 1, and I always seem to manage to travel on that day. But it is what it is, man. But I will. It means I get football earlier. I get to watch football on the plane. Oh, I can't wait. Football. Hey, hit up our social media at Sporgy Podcast on Twitter or on Facebook. Just search for Sporgy Podcast. And a couple spots left for the Sporgy Fantasy Football League. Let's check right now. Real-time update.
Yeah, I mean, if there's still 3 spots left, come on, guys. Let's do our best to get them filled.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the deal. I'm going to go so far as to say this. You can even not be there during the draft and just let it auto-draft for you. And you're probably going to do better than at least one of the hosts.
Oh, dude, my one league I've been in for years, my one buddy, he has a night job. Like he works like third shift at a hospital, so he always auto drafts. He has a couple titles.
There you go.
His nickname in the league is, at this point, I think he's done one live draft, but his nickname in the league is auto draft because he always auto drafts. But then there's been, like I said, there's been years where he's won. Shit, there was 1 year he didn't pay attention to his team until halfway through, and he still ended up in the playoffs. Bitch, you know who you are. Maybe he listens, maybe he doesn't. But yeah, sign up. Hit us up. Like I said, we're at the day that this post will be drafting the following Sunday. But if getting it Sunday doesn't work for you, we got till Wednesday night. One of my leagues, we are not drafting until Wednesday night. Until like 24 hours before the season starts. So, yeah, and you can always email the show sporgy@ChristopherMedia.net. And thanks for listening. Each month is better than the next. You're listening, you're liking, you're retweeting, you're sharing it with somebody. We do appreciate it. So we know that we're not here just flapping our traps every week just to hear ourselves talk. So thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next week.
All right, later, guys.
If you like this show, please tell a friend. Please follow us on Twitter and like and share us on Facebook by searching for Christopher Media. You can subscribe to all ChristopherMedia.net shows for free on ChristopherMedia.net. Please make sure to rate and comment on all your favorite Christopher Media shows. Thank you in advance for supporting Christopher Media by clicking on the PayPal button and by clicking through to all the sponsors who support ChristopherMedia.net. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net, and thank you for listening. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Hey, we get it. You don't want to be hearing a Progressive commercial right now, so let us tell you something you do want to hear. You are powerful. You're a warrior who bathes in your enemy's tears. Then you step out of that refreshing tear bath and into a bathrobe that somehow looks good on you. Yeah, you can pull off a robe. There. Don't you feel better? You'll also feel better when you save money for driving safely with Snapshot from Progressive. Savings you can use to buy more robes. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California, North Carolina, or from all agents.
This week at Macy's, it's time for a winter refresh with 25 to 50% off clearance plus an extra 20% off with your coupon or Macy's card. This is your chance to stock up on new looks for your closet and every room in your home with great deals on head-to-toe styles and accessories for all, like coats, puffer jackets, boots, and booties, even new bedding, blenders, food prep, and more. Now at Macy's. Plus, Star Rewards members can earn on every purchase except gift cards, services, and fees. Savings off sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.